We have to have everything. I will give you the
fine. Like, look at
this is your charger. When I mean, I can charge the laptop. When the laptop is charged, I can switch with yours.
So it's usually this is large one. Yeah. This large, yes, they rarely do the second step floor, they do the smaller one. So if you find such a large first floor, it will start from 300. But from the first floor, it's around 300 more. Same thing. It starts from 500 because you have few of the side.
Hi everyone. Hi. Thank you for coming to Santorini. We're about to start in about 5 minutes. If you wanna come, sit, grab a snack, and come join us.
solo audio,
Okay.
quindi
Everything is ready, and we're going about 5 minutes. Plenty of nice speakers, and we'll introduce them in a bit. Okay.
se togliamo a cover magari sì.
Ah.
Ma dove vuoi teclare? Che tanto sta come contatto.
All right. Wonderful. Memo.
In italiano.
Servono?
Sì.
Come farò? Allora, lo faccio parlare. Qua è fisso? Sì, lo faccio parlare un attimo.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a small presentation, and then there's like a panel. No, first, yeah, like, I don't think when I look at that, how young you are.
Alright, so you are giving the speech just by
Sto riuscito a flippare le cose.
come se si sente. Questa cosa io so già che gli farò fare così.
Per me non è così, no? Uno, due.
No, solo lui. Sì, no, il tuo iPhone sembra un po' cagare, poi ci sono le cose che copano. Vabbè, che è giusto. Ma perché sto parlando di vicino adesso. Però vediamo.
Non prende neanche la regola di game. Sono sentito tu, non riesco a perché se decide lui quando sparare, quando non sparare, è un po'
Funziona con... Jack.
I like.
no.
Io volendo il gioco direi che funziona così. Come se lo fai. Vabbè, in teoria noi dobbiamo prendere solo la tira là, però...
Non ti vedi più.
Ah, non so troppo. Più che altro sai cosa? Che
Un'altra cosa, una cosa che abbiamo pensato che deve tenere tutto carico. Il mio iPhone, il tuo iPhone, vabbè.
Sì, da volta in volta, da spiccia d'altro, non so se potevo in camera gli iPhone,
Io faccio un power bank e posso tenere tutto carico il mio.
no? Nessuno tanto deve passare qua davanti.
Invece ci devo no.
Anzi, giusto, metto qua così nessuno passa.
Sì, devo salire a te.
No, qua no, quello del giusto, questo è il giusto. Ma no, dobbiamo quello che ti dicevo, io tanto passo di lato, devo fare i birolli, passo da dietro, quindi
Togliamo quelle sedie là. Adesso togliamo quelle sedie là.
proviamo tutto.
Ma guarda che c'è poco. Si mette più basso e va alla fine.
Quelli abbastanza.
Questo, ma devo abbassare, questo.
Sì, no, infatti.
Hello, everybody.
Questa è la presentazione. Devo riprenderla.
This is fixed here, right? I cannot move it.
You know,
Aspettate,
Rocket science.
il formato lo scheda.
Oh, hello. Welcome. We are kicking off the day with a bit of delay, but we are in Greece. So things happen with a bit of delay, and we are okay with this. Okay. The food is already there, of course. So if you want to go grab food, there is already so much food set up. Don't just go and grab something like coffee or spinach pie. That's my favorite. So I want to welcome you all here. I'm Annie. I'm one of the organizers. Maybe we didn't have the chance to meet with everybody yet, but we still have 2 more days. I'm also organizing the hiking tomorrow morning. So I'm going to talk to you about the hiking later on. Now it's my pleasure to introduce to you the main organizer, the visionary behind all this, the one who started this setup and the reason why we're all here. This is George. And before I give the microphone to you, I just want to mention the other organizers because maybe you haven't met us all and we don't wear all the same stuff, so it's kind of hard for you to know who is in the who you should ask about stuff. So except George, who's the main organizer, myself, Annie. Then here on the right, on my right, you can see Nina with the hat. She is the person who brought all this together, like organized everything, talked with everybody, like she's actually the reason why we are having food and the hotel here and everything. And then we also have Natalie. Natalie with the hat in the hair and drinking she's on the way to drink cold coffee here while everybody else is having warm coffee because cold coffee is a thing here in Greece, by the way. So ask her if you want to eat. Yeah, like this style. And and then we also have Andreas. He's not an organizer, but we just like him. So welcome everybody here, and let's start the day. George, you want to say a few words?
Thanks. Hi, I'm George. By the way, Andreas helped me set this up, so this wouldn't be up here, it would be on the ground if we didn't have a tall guy helping. Thank you all.
We basically like him because he's tall.
Yeah,
right?
we basically, we thank you all for coming. We are gonna start in a bit. Let me say a few things. First of all, in case you didn't know, the idea is from big Sean Harris. We have him to thank for the idea behind the big Halving party thing. In case you're not into Twitter and things like that, he's a tall guy, an NBA guy, a huge Bitcoiner, a huge memer, and like a couple of years ago, he said, "Oh, I'm gonna do a Halving party in El Salvador." He's been planning it for 3 years, something like that. That's why it became so huge. It happened at the beginning of the month. I heard that it's an amazing event. Como, of course, and everybody had so much fun. So when I saw that a couple of months ago, not a couple of months, about 6 months ago, I was like, okay, why don't we do something like that in Greece? So I had this idea of doing the same thing in Greece, in Santorini, and I kept talking with my partners, my friends. Everybody said, "Oh yeah, it's a good idea," but we never got around to organizing it. And because I'm also a businessman, I know that things happen only when you start them. So I simply started organizing this, and here we are. And hopefully you'll all have as much fun as I'm having with all of you around. Okay, so yeah,
Gord is very shy and he's downplaying the whole thing that he did because he started this discussion back in VCC Prague with Nina. And it was just a dream, like, because there's nothing like this happening in this part of the world, like in Greece, Southern Europe. And we have like the meetups, okay, but nothing like this huge with 95% of you guys come from abroad. So this is huge, right? Bringing people from abroad to Santorini to celebrate this. And he doesn't, it was a dream. And he comes to me, and I'm a very practical business person, right? So I want to see things happen. And he's like, we have to make it happen. I'm like, do you know how hard it is? Because I organized like 3 conferences last year, and it was like burned out. I cannot help you. That's what I told him. I cannot help you. And like, I know that he relies a lot of me on, doing the communications and being stuff together. And he started working on it by himself. And then he brought in Nina and Natalie, and they started helping as well. And he has been working on it since, I don't know, back last September. So from September and on, he has been doing things like under the table, or not behind the scenes, not under the table. And then at some point, I see this thing is happening, it's happening for real. So I'm like, dude, you have done so much work. Like, he really worked like 24 hours, 7 to bring this together. So I just want, to thank him for bringing us all here and making it happen, because it was his resilience and grit that makes it happen.
another funny note of the day. I hope you're all wearing your bullish underwear, right? Even though we're minus 5% today, we're all perma bulls here. We're all bullish. We don't care. We hold, right? You have plenty of stuff to feel bullish about. And now let's not delay any longer. Our speaker to start with is Luis Plonek. I hope that's the right pronunciation. Okay, come on up on stage, ma'am. Let me introduce him a bit. He is working with Pi miners, P miners, it depends on how you pronounce it. Okay, Paraguay miners, and they have a service about the ASICs. They're professionals, and they're gonna tell us all about their business. So today, with the representative Luis, and his title is "Future of Mining After the Halving." It's something that even if you aren't into mining, it's so important to Bitcoin. It's the backbone of Bitcoin. So we kind of need to keep an eye on these things, right? Even though we're just holders or whatever, or liking developers, or even influencers or whatever. Okay, so Luis.
Thank you very much. Hello, I hope you can hear me good. So thank you, George, for the introduction. First of all, thank you for coming to the conference or event, more like a party. It's every we have only this opportunity every 4 years, and every time the reductions get slower. So it's good to celebrate the 6 to 3. And I will talk you a little bit about the data and economics of mining. And for some of you, I don't know if you mine or you heard about, well, everyone has heard about mining, but there is a big problem of how to be profitable actually in mining, because you have the hash difficulty. Sometimes you are already using equipment that is obsolete, like let's say S9s. So if you're gonna invest in mining, you gotta know that maybe the machine that you have a half-life of 4 years is this machine actually will be profitable in 1 year or now, so on. So what we did, a little bit of my company, I'm the founder of Pi Miners, of P Miners. We mine Bitcoin in Paraguay using green energy, sustainable from the Itaipu Dam. It's the second largest dam that generates electricity in the world. So we take advantage of the residual or the energy that is not spent by Paraguay and in particular Ciudad del Este. And we have an agreement. Right now, there is only 48 licenses in the country to mine legally, let's say, or according to the regulation right now. And we are part of one. So our business a little bit different of what other mining companies are is we are small. We only have operating 2 megawatts at the moment. We have capacity of four up to 5 megawatts. But we want to open a retail market for users, but we don't do cloud mining or anything. We are just taking as a data center. You always be in charge of your pool. So we actually don't know where you send your Bitcoin or where you are mining. We just take care of the machine. We sell you the machine, and we just take care of a monthly fee for energy and the maintenance, right? So we have a direct partnership with Bitmain, and that's what it gives us very good price in Paraguay. All the machines are already in stock there, so we take around less than a week to connect your machine, and we provide you serial number and everything of the machine. So it's very transparent that we don't mess with your hash, or we are not selling you hash, but we are selling you actually the hardware machine, and then you can mine with it. So it gets rid of a lot of problems that has happened in retail products for mining in there. Okay. I think
Red versus space so that it opens.
so. Mainly, that's what we do in Paraguay. But we wanted to have an outcome of what is going to happen in the mining industry after the halving, because it's very important for us. It's our source of and to have a forecast, you always have to come from data from the past. So we plot, 1 second. Well, this is the daily revenue for today. So 1 terahash. It's very hard to see, but it gives you like 1,680 satoshis, right? So it gives. No. Okay.
Like a mine, like if it doesn't do anything without.
So it gives you around right now at the day, if you mine with 1 terahash, it will give you around 11 cents of a dollar per terahash per day. Okay, so let's say you have 90K. Well, it's very hard to see, but there is two linear lines, and then we have the spikes of the all-time high. Recently, especially starting 2023 and mainly in 2023, we're having huge spikes of all-time highs in difficulty, which it is strange because we plot, my data analyst plot the linear growth of the hash rate difficulty, but in recent years it has gone a little bit more exponential. I believe, especially what we talked yesterday with Ocean and all these new type of shares of mining, it will create a lot of hash bars. So as always, this is just some technical analysis from data before. If it doesn't happen, don't kill me because this is just the historic data. Right now, we are around 500,000 million terahashes or tera, penta, exa. I don't know but so you get an idea. The chain, the network is very secure. With this linear regression from December 2024, we expect like 575 million, and then on December 2028, that is the next halving. If it's a linear, but right now it's looking more exponential, we can expect about 1 billion, right? So it's It's not that much if you compare to Bitcoin price. Bitcoin price has, we took the all-time lows from Bitcoin price since the beginning, and it has shown a steady average growth of 145% on the low time high per year. So we don't take the all-time high, but we take the low-time high, and it's always showing an increase. Right now, the low-time high of 2024 at the moment is $40,000. So we expect if it keeps growing, let's say this 145%, which is pretty, let's say, reasonable based on the volatility of Bitcoin. We expect on the halving 2028 have 1,400,000 dollars per Bitcoin, taking this volatility, but there is a lot of external factors. What we can pretty sure is at least in 2025, there is an expectancy that it will cross or already cross the 100,000 markup, which is very important, especially to run retail business. So with that in mind, it's very small, I'm very sorry, but I plot all the Bitmain, because we only work with Bitmain, I'm sorry, but all the machines that we have. And if you see the S19J Pro, S19K Pro, and all the S19K Pros, after the halving and after the increase of difficulty, they will not be profitable in the next 2 or 3 years. So this brings a lot of talk in the mining industry, because especially for retail, you want the machine that you know that, well, you can do it for hobby, and have an S9 to warm up your house and everything. But if you want to actually secure the network, have like anonymous or urgent Bitcoin, and be part of the industry, you want something profitable. So I would recommend always go from the S20 to the Hydro S21T is one of the best machines right now in the market. There is new machines that is going to be released by Bitmain, so it's always the you, especially in the industry, you have to keep up with new machines. But for retail, I'm assure you that with a S21 you can be profitable. So if you get an idea right now, I said you get 11 cents per terahash per, let's say, per each terahash. So one of the let's say an S19J Pro has 100 terahashes, so you're making like 11 euros, $11 a day, so 330 a month. But taking in consideration that you will have the halving, then you will be making $155 only on revenue. And then already the electricity, because we charge 6 cents per kilowatt, and this machine already uses 3,000 kilowatts a month. So you're already on the loss. And this is with a price of energy of 6 cents per kilowatt. If you mine in the States, maybe you're paying 8. If you mine in Europe, I don't know, 11, 12. So it's very important to have this in mind. Right now, Paraguay also, this happened last week, we have a new legislation to control mining. So mining will continue, but to enter in the market, it will be harder, because now they are trying to check what will be the parameters of the licenses, how much you can mine, what kind of excess energy you can mine, because right now they sell the excess energy to Brazil and Argentina. We in Pi Miners, we use modular energy, so which it means that in especially February, our machines are shut down. Okay, so why? Because this year was 50 degrees in Paraguay, and they have to send a lot of energy for the air conditioners, HVACs, and everything to the city. So we couldn't have that excess energy. But we have calculated a running time of our machines of higher than 75% and still be profitable with the price of this energy. So it's like a give and take. So sorry for the graphics. I can send you the presentation by email or by Telegram if you want to contact me and have all the data. Yeah. we took all the information from blockchain.com on a CSV, and then we plot the trades. And if you have any other questions, that's it. So if you want to stay, go above S20 GAN, and I think you will be okay for at least 3 years.
I have questions. No, no, don't leave, don't leave. I have questions for you. Okay, okay. You like hydro mining? Okay, we got that. Okay, obviously, for some reason they're very nice. They're nice and sweet. Okay, for like a regular customer, okay, for a client, okay, that's obviously that analysis. You know what you're doing. You've decided to be in Paraguay for the reasons above. Even though you're shutting down like for 2 months, you're still profitable, and it's worth having the ROI because why?
Well, if you compare how much you're mining, we mine around 75% of our time. But it means that we also don't get in expenses for our clients for this other 25% of the time. So we are not incurring any electricity costs or anything, just the rent. And still, if I have another graph to show you, like the break-even price right now is with the S19 case. So after halving, a lot of S19J Pros, sorry, will be break-even. So you will not have expense or not. And if you having this 80%, it does not affect as well. But the only thing that affects this 25% is how much you will you will have the return of the buying, the purchasing of the machine. So usually the break-even time for a retail person is around, it depends also on the price, of course, but if you just stack sats and you don't sell it at the moment, you will break even in less than 14 months for almost all machines.
I want to note something.
Yeah.
The ROI, I remember we were on a call, you said you calculate the bearish price, right? The base price. So these are the worst case scenario.
So if you see,
like the ROI decided.
We have calculated with the all-time low from every year. Yeah.
Is that break even in dollar terms or in sat terms?
No, of course you have to compare, because I will tell you that you say, all right, it's nice. You're making right now 1,600 satoshis per terahash, and like in 7 days you will make 800. That's it. So that, of course, we for miners sometimes we check it in hash per dollar is the easiest way, because then we know. That's why a lot of problems. This is one thing. A lot of problems with miners, they miscalculate the volatility on Bitcoin, and of course, in bear market is where you need to have more resources to fund your energy, especially because we are only about energy. And some people, they miscalculate that, and then they don't have funds to cover the energy cost, and then they burn the crypto, the Bitcoin, they burn it, they change it. What you have to do is actually during 2-3 years, just hold, find either another type of sourcing to source the energy, like a credit maybe, or with a VC or something. Or if you're particular, know that you will have an spend of around $80, $100 every month of energy. And then after 3 years, you grab all that Bitcoin and you wait for right now a price like right now is amazing to sell, and then you get it.
5 years. 5 years. You need to step on both at least 2 cycles, right? That would be the ideal. But yeah, 3 years is also normal.
All time low.
Oh yeah, all time low.
40,000
That's nice. No, not head in the clouds, but yeah, firm feet on the ground. I want to ask you, like, bring it down even to simpler terms. Okay, I'm a customer, right? And what can I do? By the way, I think we might have activated the code loveisbitcoin, right?
Yeah.
In your site.
Yes.
So you have that. Okay, as a customer, I go to your site, okay, and there's a miner. I add it to cart. That's perfect. I use my coupon code, which is give me a discount, okay. And what is the benefit? Like, what happens when I purchase my miner as a user? Okay, what happens? Do I see it? Do I know what it is?
Yeah. Okay, so this is in two. First one, you can, if you're already an experienced guy and you already know what kind of machine you want, you can just go to checkout, pay it in Bitcoin or a stable coin, or also credit card if you want. And we will send you an email with the contact to make a meeting with me or my associate. And we will ask you, like, listen, like, this is your miner. We give you the serial name of the machines. You can verify it on Bitmain that they are actually on warranty and they have actually the day you got it, the warranty goes on. And then we will configure the machines according to your pool needs. So you just give us a watcher link from your pool. We don't need to know which Bitcoin address you have. You don't need to pass KYC. You don't need anything. And then we configure that on your machine, and you will see it running on the watcher link. That's the one for people that already know what kind of hardware they want. The second option is you just book a call with us. You tell us about what you want to do, what is your budget, and we will create a presentation with some numbers, data about how to be profitable and in which spectrum according to your budget. So those are the two ways that you can do it. As I say, we don't mess with. We are negotiating with Luxor Pool. If you want, they can have a discount in their mining pool. But we are not advocates of any pool, so you can use like slush pool, F2 pool, pooling, whatever you want. We don't mess with that. We don't mess with your Bitcoin at all. So the only thing, think about us as a data center. You connect the machines with us, and we take care of the maintenance. And the energy we send you at the end of every trimester, a full spreadsheet of, if you want to check it, of the energy, and then you only pay the energy that you spend. So it's not like a fixed energy price, but if you spend 1,000 kilowatts, you only pay 1,000 kilowatts.
And one final question. Okay, this miner, okay, I bought it, you're hosting it, nice. You're taking care of it, with your experts and repair crew and whatnot. Okay, let's say I want it. I tell you, okay, I want it after ROI, like 15 months. Okay, it's paid off. Ship it to me. Can we do that?
Yes, it's possible. Taking considerations, all the machines that we have are DDP, so delivery is duty paid in Paraguay. So we already pay taxes and everything for these machines in Paraguay. So it's all ready to connect. So when you want to disconnect, well, you will have to incur some charges, the shipping to your country or where you are, and then like you are in charge of your own customs import tariffs.
But I can do that.
But you can
That's
do it. You
important.
can do it. Yeah, yeah.
That's
If you want to unplug and just buy, if you just want to buy the machines and have it for your own mind, it's you can do it. No problem.
Okay. I hope you clean up my fans before you ship my miner back. All right? I hope you take care of that. Starting clean. Okay. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Luis. Thank you so much. If you have any questions,
Just another one.
Yeah.
If I pay with Bitcoin, how much do you have to KYC me, and what do you put on the receipt?
There is, if you pay with Bitcoin, at the moment there's no KYC. That this might change in the future, but at the moment, like I said, we take Monero. So
What is in the invoice? Like when you invoice me, there's like a minor, or you have like generic.
I can put it like data center. So for the monthly, this is good question. For the monthly invoices of energy, we just put the amount of energy, the cost on data center, and then, well, of course, if you want the miner, yeah, we can put a hardware, because also for us, in terms of a lot of payment processors, it's getting very hard to work with them because they say, oh, no, you're selling Bitcoin. It's like, no, you don't understand. We're selling hardware, and that doesn't fall into the, crypto regulation. Yes.
Two questions. How do you secure the site, or how do you secure the mining site, but all the technical?
Well, the technical part, I mean, she's asking how we secure the site. Well, the front of our site is just a front site, so we don't keep any of the information there because it's all.
I mean the miners.
Yeah, the the on-site hardware, well, first of all, we have two types of security. We work in an industrial park near Itaipu Dam. So first of all, there's 24/7 security, like physical security, so nobody steals the miners and stuff. And also our CTO, they have certain firewalls and well, a whole protocol for the IT of the internet.
And how much is the monthly fee? Because
Oh, that's very good question. So monthly fee starts in $15 for the maintenance of the machine. If you buy more machines, it decreases per unit. And $6 the kilowatt, 6 cents, sorry, $6, 6 cents the kilowatt. So those are the costs. And you only spend the electricity that you use.
how many miners you run? How many
Right now we have 2 megawatts, and we can operational for two or three more.
So fun. I want to add something to that. A few years ago, no miner would tell you how many,
Yeah.
how much horsepower they have. But right now, they're just broadcasting it, and giving advice on podcasts. And it's a whole different world, right?
Yeah. Still, there is a. We will not tell you, the exact location just for privacy things. But I mean, if you go to Ciudad del Este and you go to Itaipu Dam, you can easily locate all the people that is mining there because it's harder, and now it's like that. Yes.
One final thing, I came up with this scenario. Okay, let's say I'm a digital nomad. Okay, I'm a Bitcoiner. I know boundaries. I want to go to El Salvador. I want to go to Madeira. I want to go to Greece. I want to go to UK, and I want to have an ROI of a part of my stack. Okay, obviously, Bitcoin is good. We have it on our wallets, of course, but we want some sort of security of getting like an income stream, a cash flow. Could theoretically a person, a digital nomad, say, okay, I want to buy 5 miners from you, and there's some sort of discount, I think. Okay, let's say I want to buy 5 miners from you, a serious investment. Okay, you take care of it. I give you my credentials for the mining pool. Okay, and they will pay me in sats, and that's what I'm gonna spend, and I'm gonna adjust my travels and my spending according to that, and theoretically be a digital nomad for I don't know 5, 10 years or whatever. Could someone like literally do that with your service?
I mean, you can mine right now 5 miners, and you will be profitable. So you can do that. Eventually, the problem with this scale is that there will be months that Bitcoin price falls, and then you will have to burn your Bitcoin or change it, for big to live. So it's a little bit risky. What we are evaluating is a different product that like, but this is more on the custodian side. So a lot of people they don't like to be custodian, but have their Bitcoin in a multisig, and then we find you a person that will fund you the energy. So you don't have to pay the energy right now, but you will pay it at the end of the 2 years with a higher interest, And but we are evaluating because this part is custodian, and there is some risk. So we advocate for the non-custodian, but we are exploring these opportunities to, have like a passive income just for mining. Right now, you can do it if you manage yourself and you have a little bit of way good with numbers. You can be very good having a passive income just mining. Initial investment is a little bit high. It's worth it.
Instead of buying a house, you can buy 10 miners. I don't know. People do these things anyway, and we are crazy people in Bitcoin. Yeah, so that's what they call us, and that's what we see every day that we meet. Okay, thank you, Luis. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, 5 minute break, and while we set up with our next speaker, I hope you're enjoying yourselves. You can grab something to eat from the dining room. We have some stuff, so go grab a snack while we set up our next speaker. Okay.
Sì.
Grab something to eat and come here. Okay, don't make me chase you.
Ok.
All right. Allora.
Fatto un dettaglio a quella che c'era esatto, per dove c'è
Va bene lo stesso. Allora.
avevo capito che erano solo quelli immagini che più veramente vai.
Istruzioni poco chiare, ho fotografato solo.
Allora, qua possiamo spegnere il registratore, tanto tieni il volume tutto.
Praticamente sì. Allora.
Tengo anche qua la fotocamera, poi ricordiamoci solo prima di partire di battere un fuoco. Anche, no, ma tanto dovrebbe tenerlo. Perché questo è brutto di avere gli obiettivi totalmente per la cosa digitale, perché quelli manuali, se ti proprio lì, stanno lì, se li metti manuale non può più.
Allora, tu puoi andare a farti le tue cose e io mi faccio tutti i miei backup. Cioè, se vuoi vai a bere, vai a mangiare.
Allora,
Vabbè, per oggi pomeriggio cosa facciamo? Perché vabbè, tanto è qua. Però, cioè, lasciamo tutto così.
sì. Allora ti mando già la registrazione del microfono che ci va lui addosso.
Aspetta, mi organizzo io i backup, se no devo fare una roba alla volta, se non mi
No, se no poi non si riesce. Non voglio decidere le cose.
No, ho capito, però intanto devo aspettare. Prima che mi invii quello, devo aspettare che mi finisci questo airdrop.
Ah, infatti.
Io però sono un cretino, perché io posso bypassare la corrente, non solo mi carica questo, ma mi carica anche quello. Oppure, sì.
C'è l'iPhone dal Mac.
Oppure l'iPhone, forse è meglio l'iPhone, facciamo così.
Possiamo dire una cosa tanto per la live, ci sono persone, quindi
Sì.
cioè, 160, 160 persone.
Inviate tutti gli invio a mettere indirizzo, inviate tutti i vostri bitcoin.
Me l'ha detto Giorgio.
Mi ha detto Giorgio. Comunque si sente, non c'è il microfono. Però
Ma il power bank.
ci sono, sì.
Lo tira un po' giù, metti questo sotto, metti questo sotto. Ma non si può zoomare con la live lì.
Ma no, è giusto così, mica da zoomare.
Tu dici perché vanno di là quando... Ah, non ce l'hai più questo?
Allora,
A me che comunque non lo cambierei mai.
è una bomba. Allora, G, adesso io devo, questo qua va tutto nella giornata di oggi. Anzi, no, aspetta, devo anche fare. Sì, poi facciamo una folder 13.x, chiamiamo oggi è Saturday. Ok, inviami pure l'audio dall'iPhone 11. Pensavo fosse una battuta.
No, non sta bene.
Come si chiama il primo? Qui bisogno del...
Ce l'ha lì il foglio. Faccio foto al foglio.
Ma ce l'ho qua, sì che sono in ordine sbagliato. No?
Ah, sì, faccio.
Allora, prima mi scarico l'iPhone, poi voglio questo audio qua. Girami pure quest'audio.
Ti mando questo qua dell'11.
Sì.
Ok. È ancora più semplice. Ah, mi salta anche il silenzio volendo. Figo. Capito? Se c'è momenti di silenzio ti fa...
Allora, non cancello tutto, aspetto mezzogiorno a cancellare tutto. Va? Non c'è più? Minchia, mi servirebbe del nastro.
Non si trova. Ah, adesso si va.
Questo è l'audio dell'ultimo speech. Quindi, allora, come aprire?
Se no metti il microfono sulla persona, cioè microfono e ti...
No, ma non... Cioè, lo capisco che è nuovo,
No,
me.
ma per loro, cioè, se tu gli mandi le cose...
È già diviso in cartelle.
Ma poi dicono perché ci sono due audio. Noi dobbiamo dirgli...
Vabbè, questo come lo chiamo?
Audio principale, quindi best audio.
Audio, questo serve l'audio 2.
Audio backup, tipo audio sul corpo, body audio.
Ok, adesso questo è a posto, il file tienilo, così in sequenza, cioè tanto non fa niente. Lui
Volendo potevo portarmi il cavo per lo suono di questo USB normale. Dico il nome?
No, lo so già.
Sicuro? Sì, sì.
Vabbè, su micro c'è tutte le cartelle adesso, così. Anzi no, non occupa niente comunque. 284 mega. Un mega sono 30 minuti, quindi ogni minuto 10 mega.
High miners have a half-life of, I believe, especially what we talked yesterday is by BitMate, so it's always one you can go to check out pay in Bitcoin or the crypto. Why? Because why? Well, if you time high per year, so we don't take the all-time high, but we take the low-time high. It's always showing an increase. Right now, the low-time high of at the moment is 4,000.
Quindi di lui abbiamo due audio e gli ho salvati.
Si dà il concetto di color al video,
Poi glielo propongo.
Break is over. That was a 5-minute break that took 8 minutes or more. Anyway, we got a snack. Bring your snack. You're allowed to bring your snack. Okay. So grab it and come back to the stage so we can start the next talk in like 5 minutes. Okay.
Ma che non si fa cos'è, cioè dobbiamo fare che ne vale la pena.
Si dice 800 euro.
Non ce l'ha la cosa. Vabbè, allora 10.000. Boh, se non vuoi fare, a 10.000. Nel frattempo il tuo iPhone, scarichiamo anche il tuo iPhone. Va?
Ovviamente la scheda la metto in camera.
Allora lo facciamo.
Se vuoi lasciami il file sopra
giù da un 10 giga.
Full HD, qualità medio bassa. Però rapporto file, peso, l'iPhone pesa più o meno uguale, ma non c'è. Lo tiri più non c'è.
Ce l'ho qua, vediamo quanto mi pesa l'iPhone.
Beh, devi guardare prima le mie perché alla fine
l'iPhone pesa 1,6 giga. HD. Io ho fatto 30. Però questo è solo 10. Ah.
I think it's nice. It's cool, right? It's cool having it as a memento, saying, okay, you know how years go by so fast. You have something. I was somewhere in another place in 2010. 14 years ago, right? It's something. Yes, to show that you're talking to. I was like this.
Sì, anche lui da solo. Vabbè, ma il mio amico Riccardo fa quello. Cioè, lui ha, come ti dicevo, ce l'ho così. Lui c'ha la radio, però c'è sempre dei gusti a Rai, costa 600 euro quella variante. Qualità spaziale. Si registra in log, cioè lui fa tutte le cose in capisce va in fondo, solo di questo bitcoin. Se riusciamo ad andare anche questo, cancello o li lascio sopra? Li lascio sopra. Cancelliamo tutto a mezzogiorno. iPhone. Cercate di dirmi già B-roll e I-roll, ma in realtà cosa abbiamo fatto? No, non abbiamo parlato niente, B-roll. Sistemati prima questa, poi facciamo l'iPhone. Questa, la camera. 120, era già tanti 20. Accetti tu?
No.
Devo capire chi tocca adesso. We will see. Natalie. Ci arrivo, eh. Si può fare tempo di scoprire il cibo.
Devi lavorare invece di mangiare.
Ma sei ridotto? Chi lo racconta a casa poi?
Ma scusi, io mi sono perso una cosa, cos'è il che ti piace?
Quello che parla adesso.
Quello parla ora, ok, mentre quelli prima praticamente era con però era con MTH perché non vedo il...
Penso di sì, perché sì, lui si da film.
Perché a Paraguay so che Dušan Amiti fa...
Sì.
No, devo chiedergli. Luis.
Sì, lui si chiama.
Vedi quanto siete quanti file come sul B-roll. B-roll, sì.
Tutti B-roll? Ma stanno già arrivando, no?
Già inviati.
Yeah.
Dove si torna?
You? Yes?
Se volevo B-roll. Vabbè, sì, B-roll è quello che fanno.
Allora,
Andato l'ultimo.
questo finisce su... Quello non mi ha mandato, quando mi tocca?
No, quello
I
che
guess we can start chatting a bit so that we get people speak.
Ci siamo. G?
Deve ripartire.
Allora, aspetta, allora ci andiamo qua. Give me a second.
I know, try and say something. Saving the mic so that everybody can. So you just Saulidis. I know. So it's a huge problem. And I don't know if you know this, but I was mentioned by name in the Craig Rice trial. Seriously.
I read it.
Yeah, because there was an AI transcript of the trial, and I asked the person who was doing it if we could post it. And we posted it during the proceedings, and Judge Mellor said, "We're asking Mr. Saulidis to stop recording it with AI because it is a transcription." So we removed it. Okay, I'm sure he didn't say my name right. I asked the guys who were watching the live stream, but yes, I am part of the record, of the official record of the Craig Wright trial. Like, fuck me, right? Like, I never expected to wake up to that. Anyway, that's a little.
Okay.
But you didn't get my name right, so that's okay. You don't know who I am.
Ora.
Okay, so now we have the next speaker, Elias Mardaus. He's doing community and coding and things like that at Infinity Hash. He was going to tell us in a bit what Infinity Hash is, but first I want to say how I see it. Okay, how I see this company, because last night he was telling me, oh, we do this, we do that, but I'm a marketing guy. We need to boil it down for idiots. So we need to make it understandable by everybody. Okay, so it's something like what we were talking about before, but that was regular hosted mining, and we will debate the virtues of that in the panel later. But Infinity Hash is a great service, and it's about getting investment into a mining company, but without the hassle. That's it. That's it. But that's in very short. In more words, we have Elias here. Tell us.
Well, thank you for coming. So basically, if, for the whole talk, if you have any questions, you can also just interrupt me. Okay. Okay. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand or interrupt me if it's important. And apart from this, I'll probably just start with our story, how PTH came to life as a project. And we did hosted mining since 2017, 2018. So where people buy their own miners and they can send them to us, and we host them for set electricity price. And I don't know if any one of you still remembers the S17 series of miners. So this was basically a miner where we had many repairs because of the build quality, and then we said, okay, long term we don't see, at least for us as a smaller company, we don't see the co-location mining or the hosted mining business as a business model, or we see problems with it. And this is when the idea for doing something like cloud mining came. But our big problem was, or still is, that all the cloud mining projects, not all of them, but many of the cloud mining projects are not profitable for the users. And they have time contracts, so you buy a cloud mining contract, and a few weeks later, or a few months later, or 1 year later, the contracts end, and you don't get any Bitcoin anymore. The big problem with that is that there's seldom a cloud mining contract that performs better than if you just bought Bitcoin. And this was the same for our own test product that we did. So we wanted to combine the good things of co-location mining or hosting for people with the good parts of cloud mining, which is the ease of access and the ease of use, basically. So we said, okay, let's put everything into one project, and we only add transparency, full transparency for the user, and make it a community project, because otherwise people will rightly say there's still a centralized company that is controlling everything, because somebody has to buy energy and electricity, and they will say it's a scam, basically. So we said we go full transparency, we do everything by community vote. That is a bigger decision, and then we started developing, and this was 9 months ago. We started with a batch of 20 watt miner and 50, and with a small property and energy connection. And then we basically started developing our dashboard for easy user access, and started expanding our mining farm. And so I would just go over how the product itself works and what we learned doing it, and then at the end I would show you a video of our mining farm right now. So you can make yourself a picture, because it's a bit different than the. Can you hear me properly? Okay. Okay, so I'll use it. It's a bit different than the usual mining farms you see in public pictures from bigger mining companies, because we go on full efficiency for the community, and it's not the bling bling mining farm, basically the clean one. So how does the product work? It's basically users can buy a share of the project, and we take the money as a company transparently that the users pay in, so mostly in Bitcoin. We also still offer fiat payment systems, and we take the money and buy new miners from it. We buy transformers from it. We buy other infrastructure from it, and we pay fuel employees from it. That's what we do with the money that's coming in. And the user gets a share, and we call them infinity has shares. And the shares, like, it's a bit like in a stock listed company, just that it's an unregistered security, basically. So it's like you buy a stock from a mining company, and you get parts of the profits. The only difference is that we take all the mining rewards that we get daily from the mining pool. We're currently at 316. We take all the rewards, deduct the electricity costs, send the electricity costs onto a public electricity wallet in USDT, so everyone can see how much was actually used, and that we don't take too much money for the electricity. And all the rest is split in half, and 50% is sent to a public reinvestment wallet, and the other 50% is paid out to users directly on a daily basis in our dashboard. And they can withdraw whenever they want. So I will go into the reinvest wallets in a second, but what users actually get when our community members actually get when they buy BTS shares is they buy a share and they get daily Bitcoin from us. So it's not directly like Bitcoin that you have. It's really strong in the direction of the cash flow product, but with extremely high risk. So this is, I have to mention it for everyone that maybe wants to get into it. The risk compared to Bitcoin is sky high because we have a company behind it that could go down. You have to trust us that we don't scam you, basically, and there's lots of other risks like the electricity provider stopping to sell to us, other stuff like that, which we are trying to minimize over time and improve. But I wanted to mention this. So it's really much a cash flow product that brings people from the fiat world also into Bitcoin, and they start learning about Bitcoin and earning Bitcoin on a daily basis. So as I just said, the profit from the mining farm is split into halves on a daily basis, and one half is paid out to the users, and the other half is put into a reinvest wallet. And we use this money to buy new miners, add them to the mining pool, and the next day the profit for all existing users or holders of the shares increases. And we did this because we learned it from our colocation business. When we saw many people put all what they could invest into one miner, they bought one miner, and then there wasn't any money to repair it. There's a problem. And over the time from 2017, we've seen that you need about 40% of your profits, and you need to consistently reinvest them into your own mining operation to stay profitable long term. This is why we set it to 50%, so we have a growing operation that stays competitive long term. And apart from this, we are right now implementing community voting. So people, it's a bit like a DAO on some DeFi projects. But since we are decentralized, we are centralized. We just put it in a dashboard. And this is on the technical side, as well as Lightning implementations or integrations for chaos. So we have a big problem that many people, especially those that are new to Bitcoin, they collect their Bitcoin rewards and they let it stay put on our dashboard. So we get into the situation where we have cold storage, for users and are kind of handling the Bitcoin what we don't want to do basically. So what we want to do is to make automated payouts each day or each week for all users, a bit like NiceHash did it, where they just put their Lightning address in the dashboard and they can investigate their daily cash flow and stats right out of their Lightning wallet. This is from the technical side, and other than that, we have the farm side basically. And we are currently using hydropower at about 5.5 cents to 5.7 cents per kilowatt hour in USD. And basically taking it directly from the high voltage lines, and everything from there is the infrastructure and the property of the community project. So we also have our own transformers that are bought by the project and hosted by the project. And basically what we're currently doing from the hardware setup is we are taking one 20 container, cutting it open, putting in the miners, putting in some filters and some big plants, and that's it. Just connect electricity, and we're really starting from a technological point, which is automating really low and cost-effective point, and slowly build our way up with stuff like better cooling or dry coolers and improvements of the whole farm. And this is from the technical side. Apart from this, what I've basically found out was when I'm from Germany. The project itself, the farm is in Russia, and the company is in Georgia. And what I found out when I went over to, because I'm more on the programming side, was that there's so many risks when building a mining farm, even on the farm itself, that it has to be like a big process to look at all the points that go into even building one container, so like risk of fire, risk of basically electricity, of overheating, and also of employees not stepping on some cable and getting health problems from it. And if we expand this, we have one big risk with such a project that we want to remove in the future, and this is that we have currently only one farm in one country. So what we are now doing is we are actively looking to reduce risk and spread the project to three different countries basically. So new miners that are coming are currently still put into the Russian mining farm, and then we're looking at Ethiopia or some other place that gives us stable electricity. And we will also keep everything in containers. It was a big learning from one other mining farm that we have to use now, because with containers, if you have everything in containers, it's a bit more expensive than to put it in an old building if available. But if there's a problem with the local government, you take the container, put it on a truck, and drive somewhere else, basically, if it's possible. So if you have 3 mining facilities that you own for one project, you basically, if one mining facility is shut down by the government, you have only lost 30%. But if you also have a 90% chance to take your containers and drive them to another country, now you have the risk if one is shut down of only 3% of project. So from a statistical standpoint, this is why we build everything in containers. And apart from this, I think it would be question time, right?
Show us some
Yep, I'll show you. Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna see some photos from their facilities. The funny thing, like the first thing you see is that this is not the squeaky clean mining facility that we're used to from before the China ban and these sci-fi data centers, basically, that they were building there. This is very down to earth. Like Elias said, is it's all about efficiency. It's all about obviously the miners are really clean themselves, right? They're shiny completely, and but we are doing it like pleb style, let's say, focusing on the actual proof of work, so that they can deliver the actual goods instead of touring you around. I don't know, like some U.S. facility that might look nice for the investors and the shareholders and things like that. Okay, it's about the kind of shareholders who care about the actual sats that they earn through this. Okay, you can see a bit of the facility, and yeah, Elias, want to say something?
Yeah, I would just let it play. And does anyone of you have any questions? Everyone? Yeah, so the question was, why do we have our public energy and reinvest wallet on Tron Explorer with USDT being safe? So why we do that is for the electricity side, because we have to pay the electricity in fiat locally. So if we normally we pay electricity every 2 weeks, and this way, if Bitcoin goes down, we don't get into problems. Basically. So this is just a safety mechanism for us to put it there. And the reinvest wallet is also in USDT, and this is mainly because we have a lot of people that are using, like from the middle of Europe, that are using bank transfer for paying still. So they see the site, they are interested in Bitcoin, they are interested in passive income or in some cash flow product, and but they don't know how to use Bitcoin. So they pay in via wire transfer or debit card or something like that. And 1 month later, they're suddenly using Bitcoin. So we don't do KYC, but we still know what one email address is doing basically. So this is actively converting like people into Bitcoiners a bit, because they are not forced to use it, but they have something they can use it with and have more interest in it. And this is also why the Reinvest wallet is a USDT, because for them it's really easy. For the new people, it's especially important that they understand how much money is on there, and if they had to convert it into Bitcoin, most people wouldn't understand.
You mentioned that you could buy for amount X shares in the day, and when you want to sell those shares, how would the value be after 1 year?
Yes, the shares can be sold. So we had a bit of a problem, and we solved it with the community marketplace. The problem was that we have to, if the prices for hardware go up, the share value also has to go up from the price we sell new shares for. Otherwise, this happened with other projects. Otherwise, you buy like early investors buy when the hardware is really cheap, and then the hardware gets more expensive, and new people come in and they invest the same amount but get more hash rate than what you could, as a project, currently buy for them. So it's basically it's either steals from hash rate from old investors, or it steals hash rate from new investors, depending on if the hardware price goes up or down. So we tried a different model, and this is also changeable by community vote. So if there's a really good idea in the community, we present it to the community if it's economically viable. And the share price is basically, currently we say we want a long-term project. So we want about 30% return on investment per year. And the price is so that if you buy one share now, it would yield you with the last daily rewards about 30% per year. or in 3 years, you get your whole investment back. So this is how we do the pricing, and if the returns would be higher, we increase the price so that it's 30% again. And those are shares that are sold to you. So those are shares, new shares that are created, and we use the money to buy new hardware with it. Then there's the community marketplace where everyone can take their shares, put them up for sale, input their own price, like limit marketplace. And this also currently still runs on UCT. Bitcoin will be added to, and but we currently have a 20% fee that will be removed in the next days on the community marketplace because some people were basically using our affiliate system. We have an affiliate system that is not taking the money from the users, but we paid on top to grow the project faster. And some users were doing multiple accounts and using the community marketplace, so we spoke with the community and decided to put a 20% on it for a few days until we found a solution for it. And we will implement the solution in the next weeks. But to answer the question shorter, you can buy shares, you can sell them on the community marketplace for a price you decide, and other community members can buy the shares on the community marketplace. Yep.
The temperature, like where you have the mic, what is the max?
Yeah, so the question was what the temperature is at the mining farm, right?
Yeah, not the farm inside, the weather, the max.
Yeah, the weather outside, so the farm is in the Ural region, north of Kazakhstan. So the coldest we had for a longer days this year was minus 25 degrees, and the hottest in summer is so 35 to 37 sometimes. So this is a bit. It was a bit of the challenge when we opened this location in the first year because it's because some miners don't like weather changes, and that's formulated this way. And we basically solved it by using, so for this project, we're using only spot miner M50s. They are, and M60s now, after the halving. And they have, compared to most end miners from Bitmain, they have a big advantage that is that they are less affected by temperature. So you can basically put them outside on a chair, put electricity on it at minus 20 degrees in winter, and you can do the same at 35 degrees plus in summer, and they will just work. They will be a bit less or a bit more efficient, but there's no problem.
Well, you keep saying the word community, and that's quite interesting. You listen to the feedback from the community, right? And also, I joined the Telegram group, and it's how many languages? 3 languages, I think: German, English, Russian. And what's it about? How active is the community? And what's the feedback? And what's the sentiment?
Yeah, so basically, apart from paying out the rewards, every feature that is in our dashboard, every change we did, and every new option we added was from community input. So we say to the community, we are doing the hardware, we're doing the mining, here's your daily rewards. Everything else is talking with the community and then implementing their suggestions, basically. And what we've seen from this is that it's for the people that are in the community, it's really their project, because there's some people that wanted to have, for example, a reward split. So a few percent of the Bitcoin they receive is automatically converted to USDT, so they have some stable USDT they can sell for fiat to pay their taxes. If they have to pay income taxes on their mining. And this was coming from the community. So we implemented the reward split. Now some people use it. And this is basically what we mean by community. And also we in the Telegram group, on Twitter, and soon maybe on more channels. We are showing so all the employees at the mining farm. They have a camera, and or they have their phone, and if they do something interesting, they make a photo of it and we post it on Telegram and publicly. Or they make a video of it, how they install new miners, or if we had a bird flying into a transformer, the bird was grilled, the transformer was down, everything was offline basically, and they basically, not of the bird, but they made pictures of the accident and how they fixed it. And this is what we also want to keep doing moving forward. So everyone that puts some Bitcoin in it actually sees what his money is doing, and it's not just some dashboard where you put in money and get out money and have no idea what is happening in your background.
Transparency, that's the thing. You can see the Explorer. You can see the Explorer, right? I log into my dashboard and I can see the power, but what you're spending on. I can basically see your USDT wallet on the Tron Explorer because okay, they are using that one for automation, for reasons that Eli said before, so that people have a way to measure it. Unfortunately, we're not at the Bitcoin standard yet, so we can't price everything in fiat in our mind, in sats, sorry, in our mind, and we have to use fiat. So everything's transparent, what you're doing, what you're plugging in. It's so funny because they were building the infrastructure from the containers so that it's not on plain ground, and they're putting like crushed rocks and all these things. And they were showing all the guys laying down the foundation and cutting the door and things like that. Okay, you don't actually have to do this, but it's very good to see that that's where your money is going, and this is the company that's behind it, and these things. So we have a question here.
Long-term agreement
Yeah, so the first question was regarding if you have a long-term contract with the government in the region, right? So basically, the company there is everything is legal and it's officially a mining farm. It's not like some data center and then it's all miners. It's like, and the property there is owned by us, and everything is accepted for or owned by the company managing the community project, and everything except for the high voltage line that comes in is also infrastructure owned by the project. And we, at the location of the farm right now, we have a big advantage, which is that there's more hydropower available than is used. And if you look at the industry build up around it, this will not change in the next 3 years probably, in our estimation, or 3 to 10 years maybe. So the electricity is really stable, and the situation, security, and let's say relations to the government in the region is also really stable, and it's a long-term thing. Because what they are hoping is that we get big enough to put down hydro containers and use the heat to put it into the local heating system for the city. So they have, I don't know the word in English, but it's like warm water that is pushed around through pipes and directly heats the houses and big buildings there. So this is what we are working towards with the local government. The other question was no KYC, but what about transparency when making withdrawals, right? Probably. Yeah. So currently we only have the non-KYC policy. That's currently led to our bank account being under investigation. So we're setting up a new company for everything to get user inflows, and people that have a company in the crypto space probably know the game of it or work with it. Yeah. And, but we, apart from doing no KYC, we do no IP logging. So we don't want any information about the users. They have an email address and a password. And if they have to pay taxes in some country, it's their responsibility. We help them by giving them exports of everything, and we want to add a connection to, optional connection to coin tracking or something like that in the future. But it's not our responsibility, and data we don't have, we can share. So we do no logging from this side, but we have currently we don't have any privacy enhancing features for payouts or deposits. So we will probably, after implementing Lightning, we will probably get some questions about this from the community, and if there's a easy way and a good way that isn't taking too much development resources away from other ideas the community has, we will likely implement something. So we've spoken to the guys, a few guys at Truck, for example, that are doing like privacy enhancing transaction with the Wasabi wallet guys. No, I get it again. And some others, but we haven't found a solution that doesn't have like another counterparty risk with it again so far. So if there's something easy, we will implement it, and till then, it's normal Bitcoin transactions.
Any other questions?
So we do have a partnership. You can use the referral code loveisbitcoin. We're using it everywhere. What do you get with that?
Basically, we add 10% bonus shares, where we also add the money to the pool and buy new miners. And this way, you can test it out with very little money, but you can also put in a bit more to actually see the effect. And I would suggest not testing first, but first looking at the history in our update channel if you're interested, and so you can make yourself a good picture of how the mining farm works and how it looks. And I want to repeat, it's a high risk cash flow product with counterparty risk. So it's sadly it's not decentralized, and yep, basically thanks to Georgie, we are able, or I was able to speak here today, and he's also supporting us to make the project more known, because we basically had no online presence before, and so thank you very much for having us.
We'll make some more noise because it's okay. One final question. Okay, I want to buy my shares. I've already bought shares, obviously. I want to buy shares. I want to keep them. Will you be around in 20 years? And what's your business plan? You kind of started talking about it, but yeah.
We hope. Our plan is to be around in 20 years. Of course, we can't promise it, but our plan is to make the project as decentralized as possible, also from a company perspective, to have multiple locations in multiple nationalities. So we're currently, just from the set, we're currently at about 30 petahashes in the first location, and our first plan is to have like 3 100 petahash locations for the end of this year, somewhere next year, with all the planning and everything involved, and to make it a long-term thing. But of course, we can promise to be around in 20 years. We don't know what will happen with Bitcoin, or how people will like mining with all the energy use and everything. But that's the long-term plan, and also to, as we've seen now with the halving, the energy reuse of the heat that's coming from miners gets more important every day, because everyone is hunting for cheap electricity, and we we already see now before the halving in the last half year, we would have had a competitive advantage to other miners if we already had hydro and could use the heat that's coming out of it to basically sell the heat for heating and bring down the energy price this way. And at least what we think is that this will be more and more important in the future, and it will be more important faster than many people think, because if you look globally, you have places like Paraguay or places like Ethiopia that, and we see them a bit like it's places where there's a lot of cheap energy available, and then everyone goes there, and it's all used up basically. So I don't want to say they're full, but Paraguay is probably full right now regarding places for mining. And so if everything is full, especially in the countries that had a lot of energy available, it now becomes a game of being competitive regarding the reuse of the waste energy, basically, or the reuse of the heat, and also using waste energy for powering the miners ourselves. And I think the next 1 to 2 years will be really interesting regarding this topic.
One final thing from what you said, I think this will help with like public perception also, because when your home is heated from the local mining farm, okay, and some FUD article comes out and says, oh, Bitcoin miners are wasteful, but you are nice and warm, and it's a cheap warmth, okay, and the cost is very low. The sentiment is going to shift, right? They're not going to vote some damaging law, and the sentiment is going to become more and more positive towards mining generally, right? I see that.
Yeah, and we've also seen this locally. So once we started talking with local politicians about, hey, we want to, do you have some place where we can use 30 megabytes? Stuff like that. They were like,
I thought you were asking about Greece. No.
No, but so at the farm right now, then we started there at this property, and then we said, yeah, our long-term plan is to use it, also reuse the energy and give it to you more or less for free for heating, and suddenly everything was possible because it's a publicity, it's a positive publicity for the people that mining farms are talking with to. And of course, it's bringing jobs and long-term stability into the region, mining farms, and yeah.
If there are no other questions, let's say goodbye to Elias, but we're not saying goodbye because we're going to do a panel right now. So, what?
I have one last thing I forgot. Our mining pool for the project is also public, so you can look at it online and you see each miner and the live hash rate. And thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I need to ask my fellow organizer, Natalie, should I do a break or just move on to the next one? Move on to the next one. Okay, right. Can you bring us one client here? We need another one here. I'm gonna stand because my back hurts. So this is much better. So we're gonna talk about what the halving, how the halving basically affects Bitcoin mining. Since you saw the guys, we have some experts, basically representatives from big and small mining companies, and we also have Giacomo Zucco here, who will probably be talking about a little startup that created a little bit of a buzz, right? Ocean, you're going to represent Ocean. You want to try something? No, let's do Ocean. Of course.
Legally, I can.
Legally, you can't. Oh, that's even better. Then you're free to say anything you want. Not that anybody's stopping you, usually. So come on up. Come on up. Yes, permission representation. Like I said. You can stop, Jack. Okay, we have near to cut the breaks. You know, to stop it if it goes too crazy. Okay, so hi, hi. Say hi to everyone because yeah. How do you introduce Giacomo? That's quite hard. Okay. Well, we start with the latest thing that he's doing, and he's the director of Plan B Network. And now that I mention it, do you want to tell us about that? Want to tell us like 5, 10 minutes, something like that?
With pleasure. So the point is that education in Bitcoin is very decentralized, and I hate decentralization. I love centralization under a single point of failure. So we're basically no, I'm partially joking, but partially it's true. The idea is that everybody is reinventing the wheel with Bitcoin one-on-one courses. Very good, but everybody is doing the same, and there is some difficulty into reusing material and not reinventing the wheel and leveraging existing activities and existing content and having synergies instead of overlapping. So the purpose of Plan B Network is basically to federate in a reasonable way all the integration, all the ongoing educational activities in Bitcoin. So, for example, I was involved in Lugano Plan B Summer School, Cubo Plus in El Salvador, and other programs, and we are merging them together with Summer of Bitcoin and other things, so that everybody can run their own courses and education activities, but it's all under the same logistical umbrella. Centralization is efficient, even if it's fragile. In this case, we don't care for fragility because all the content will eventually be open source. I know the website Plan B Network itself is open source. So if we go bad, you just fork Plan B Network and you launch your own Plan B Network cache or whatever. So we don't care for centralization. It's actually just efficient in this case. It's not just about education because we realized that, like we are seeing here, physical presence in the same place is paramount. Even if we like to be NIM on GitHub, with the amount of bandwidth we can have physically is different. So we want to do physical. Exactly. You cannot punch me online, so you can, and I cannot punch you back. So basically, the idea is that we need to punch each other physically. So physical places are important. So Plan B Network will also be a federation of local Bitcoin building initiatives for co-working spaces or offices or podcast spaces or conference spaces or meetup spaces. All this stuff. This idea is not new. You remember, some of you may remember the Bitcoin Embassy network idea back in 2013-14. Well, basically, we're bringing it back, and so that's Plan B Network. A lot of good people joining in. I already mentioned the Summer of Bitcoin, but there's also the Cover Bitcoin, pardon my French, initiative with what? Amity Age is also involved. Thank you, Mir. And since you're pointing at stuff, Fulgur Venture and Tether are providing swimsuits and money and sponsorship for the initiative. But Fulgur Venture is not providing swimsuits, sadly. They should. So yes, that's Plan B Network.
Don't go too far away because I'm interested. I'm a Bitcoin educator. Okay, this is like the second year that I'm teaching at a shitcoin university, basically, because it's Greece. We don't have completely Bitcoin-only stuff. So when a good friend of mine, he's a Bitcoiner as well, he asked me to teach some lessons. I said, okay, I'm gonna do the Bitcoin workshop. And he told me, oh, you're gonna do about this, and no, I'm gonna do the Bitcoin workshop. Okay, but I covered ordinals. And well, I basically, obviously, we can't start this on our own. So, like a person like me, okay, I'm a Bitcoin educator. I have some experience. Some people in my local community know me. I could gather like 15, 20 students, let's say. How could I use the Plan B network, the material? Okay, the material is open, I think, right?
So yeah, there are 3 tiers of educational materials. The first tier is free and open source. You go on the website Plan B Network, you navigate. We have to add a search function because it's crazy how much stuff is there. that there are tutorials for every single tools. There are lectures of every different kind of topic in Bitcoin, and they are translated in many, many languages. The Cougar Bitcoin team are making a great job in translating stuff in different languages. So you go there and you find what you need. We are trying to make it easier and easier and easier to find what you need. If you don't find it, write us and we will help you finding it. So you just use it. It's open source. Then the second tier is you don't want to just use free material. You want to have also some kind of business. Like in university, maybe you will have a master, you will have some kind of a university course, or you can do something like an MBA, something like a paid workshop. It's not bad to be paid if you're a teacher. There is sometimes this prejudice in Bitcoin community that if you are like spreading knowledge or helping people to know stuff, and you are spending your opportunity cost in doing that, you should do that for free always. That's not the case. Knowledge want to be free, so your material should be open source and free. But your time and it's an opportunity cost for you. So teachers should or could or sometimes will be paid, and that's fine. So if you're selling something, the idea is to just do some kind of network marketing, not in the sense of pyramid schemes, but in the sense of pulling together some resources. For example, you sell your courses on yourself, but you also sell it through Plan B Network. So maybe we can give the course more visibility. If somebody buys the courses through the network, you will get like a discount or a fee or something. We will negotiate it. We have no idea right now. We will just negotiate it to make it self-sustainable. If you sell it alone, you keep everything. So if you are helped by the network, good, you give something back. Otherwise, not. So that's the federation idea that we are planning to do with Saifediana Moose already accepted. Jimmy Song already accepted. Lisa with Base 58 courses. So many people are already doing that.
That's like the free Bitcoin universities right now.
Yeah.
Those are
That's basically the idea to federate so that people can go into a single point of failure in order to find teachers and speakers and sponsors for the courses and stuff. The third tier is something that we are organizing directly. So we are running some courses that I and the other guys of Plan B Network are organizing directly. Right now, there are two, a Plan B business school in order to make non-developers employable in the Bitcoin startups. So they come in that maybe they are already good in some kind of business skill, but they don't have any clue about Bitcoin history, culture, trade-offs, business model, and we teach them, and so they are employable. And the second one, this would be like now from basically May, June, and July, culminating in the summer school of Lugano. And we do the same way for developers in San Salvador, October, November, culminating in the winter school of San Salvador in December for developers. Plus, we are organizing an executive master in the University of Turin, Polytechnic of Turin, and we are trying to organize the same thing in the university. That we're starting in September. And also probably we're organizing the same thing in Don Bosco University, San Salvador next January. And in Switzerland, we have 3 universities already committed, but we still don't have dates yet.
You went through all of that quite quickly, but it's insane, right? That's an insane level of organization, a great level of adoption. Like I know that you're Bitcoin focused, so that's very important. And okay, we're in Greece. Okay, so let's say, can I find material in Greek from the Plan B network?
I should have double checked that before I came on stage here, but I assume so. You can go on the repository of GitHub. There are many stages of the platform with some languages that are not yet reviewed, because the way that Roxy and the other guys are doing it, they are translating automatically and then using a local reviewer to do all the stuff. So I think the best thing is to get in contact with Roxy. Probably, if it's not public yet on the website, he has it in the background ready to be published after the review. So I would assume that the process to create new material in new languages is super streamlined. Roxy's focus was actually make it very easy to translate. So if you don't find Greek on Plan B Network right now, probably not. You contact Roxy and that can be live with help of local people. That can be live in 1 week.
We have some people here who are translating professionally, so that's a discussion that we need to make, to do that proofread basically, and make sure that it makes sense, the AI translation, that it ends up making sense and not being a jumbled mess or calling things other.
The trick when you translate material, the point is also to make it well, in the sense of all the images references. The images should be translated as well, which is a lot of manual labor. sometimes you don't want to translate some words, so you need to keep the exception. So it's not as trivial as it sounds. It's not like ChatGPT, please translate. If you want to make a good job, manual review, final manual review takes a lot of time.
Most of us here are multilingual, and yeah, we know that things are done differently in some languages. We use some English words and never use the Greek word, for example. So it makes sense in some translations, and you need a local expert to do that. Okay, like I said, I started asking a question earlier. Okay, I'm an educator. I want to start. I want to use the curriculum. We had a discussion with Mir, and I really liked that Plan B gives me. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. Basically, that's what we like about polymathy. That's the trick about polymathy, doing different things and doing many disciplines. Is not reinventing the wheel every time. Like these guys have done a tremendous amount of work. Just take this, like Giacomo said, people are keep doing Bitcoin 1.1, Bitcoin 1.1. Like, no, grab this curriculum and adapt it, like cut away something, add something if you want. It's probably comprehensive. You don't need to add too many things. But the point is to have something that you can work on without wasting time recreating the exact same stuff from scratch, and you can move on to the actual thing, which is finding students, educating people, orange pilling them, teaching them about self-custody and all these things, like I'm doing with my Bitcoin workshop. But the question is, okay, I want to start. Okay, I'm kind of putting you on the spot. We were supposed to have this discussion in private, but we're only having it the live stream is about 200 people. So okay, I don't know how many will see it even later. So we're having this discussion now. Okay, I want to start. Okay, I'm from Greece. The other guys from Spain. The other guys from whatever, somewhere in the world. And they want to start. They're an educator. They know their stuff. They know Bitcoin. They're a maxi, and they want to start with Plan B. Okay, what do I do? What do I literally do? Do I call you?
Well, first go to the website. It's still not as good as we wanted. We're working on that since October, and it's still like it's out, it works, but we are improving it. You go on courses, and you find all the you find some of the courses depending on the language that you selected. So if you go on let's say Spanish or Thailand, you see all the courses that we already translated, and you should see them nested in some kind of knowledge tree, like knowledge rabbit hole, from Bitcoin 101 into like Lightning, core Lightning plugins. So from basics to advanced into different directions. There's not just technical stuff, economical stuff as well, Austrian schools, inflation, history, stuff like that. So you select and you teach that. You just use it. If there's not what you need, you write us and you ask, because probably something is already out there in the repository. If you want, you go on GitHub on the repository, you use a search function for terms, and you find a lot of material which is not yet easy to research word-based on the website. Because, like, for example, there are tutorials for every single Bitcoin tool ever. So it's very rich, but it's still not super organized. We have to improve the rabbit hole organization, and we have some ideas. So you do that. After, you contact us if you don't find something, or if the language is not finished and you are able to help. Or if you want, you can, if you are so cypherpunk that you don't want to talk with people at all, you just go on GitHub, you fork it, you change something, adding a new material, adding a new language, and then you do a pull request. And then Azio of Plan B Network will just accept the pull request, review the pull request in time, and it will be added to the website. If you don't like the website, you don't like me, you just fork it, and we will see you. No, I'm joking. We will not. And you do it your own. You will lose the network effect, which is kind of the point. So maybe don't if you don't have to, but if you feel you have to fork it and reuse the software and the content for free. Just one mention. So everything so I said that we have a paid course. So like the Plan B Business School that we start now in May, it will be paid by students. We will have scholarship, of course, but it will be paid. After it's paid and it's recorded, it will be edited, and the recording and the text version will be released in about 6 months for free and open source. The reason students will still pay for it is that you don't get the knowledge. The knowledge is basically free. You get the human networking contact. You get the certificate that can be used to be employed by the partner companies. So if you pay or you get a scholarship, you get human contact, live interaction with the teacher, and the certificate. If you just want the content will be all free open source. Except some teachers asked not to do that with the federal courses. We're still discussing, but my idea would be that everything that is not live, so that it doesn't cost money for the teacher, it end up full Creative Commons, no commercial clause, like completely free.
I have seen that with my students, and with Annie, we've taught some lessons, and they want the human presence. They appreciate it. There are people who want to learn, and they want to ask a person, and even though all the answers are out there, you can Google everything, there's videos, like you said, there are people willing to put in the time, and that's how they take it seriously. They pay for the course, they invest their time, okay, they respect the teacher's time, basically, and they get rewarded as well, and they take it seriously, and it goes through their heads properly, right? Do you agree with that?
I totally agree. To give you an example, last Cubo Plus program to create developers in El Salvador, it was for free. And while some excellent students came out of that and are now employed in some companies, so it's going well, still there was a little bit of low responsibility for students because it was something for free, like something, it's inflation. It's something I give it away for free, you don't see the value. So what we are trying to do now is never anything for free, in the sense of something that will have a cost will not be for free. You will see the price, and maybe the Plan B Foundation, which is a non-profit foundation funded again by Fulgur and Tether in Switzerland. I'm vice president, and that foundation will give you a scholarship on top. But you have to see the price of the work that is being deployed for your education, and you have to see that somebody paid the price for you for some strategic reason, and that's the different thing that free stuff. If you want free stuff, you have the recorded material, which also took some effort to be edited and stuff, but it's the effort probably was already compensated by some kind of sustainable business model. So right now we have a foundation with some money from Fulgur and Tether, so we can make free stuff, but we don't want to. We want to make stuff sustainable. We want a future in which, if these two donors go away, the Plan B network can still run in a sustainable way. So that's my goal for the next year.
Yeah, one last thing before we move on to the panel. I was talking to Ben from PTC Sessions, and we were discussing that how the level of educators that Bitcoin attracts, how amazing it is. We already have here Kostas Karasavas. He'll do a talk later on, one of our finest examples. And you see them online, you see them on their YouTube channels, you see them on conferences, or doing their own thing or whatever, even if it's not organized by Plan B network or whatever. But it attracts a certain type of person who, when they grasp Bitcoin, basically they can't wait to teach it to people, right? Have you seen this?
Yeah, I've seen it myself. When I discovered Bitcoin in late December 2012, I could not think about anything else for months. I had to quit my job in May, and I have to do all the Bitcoin stuff in 2013. So it becomes an obsession for some kind of people. But you will probably discuss later what kind of people there is. There are some common traits, but yes, it's the case, and the quality is amazing. Like Ben himself is an incredible teacher of. I mean, the level of tutorials by BTC sessions are incredible. And like Dushan, Amity Age Dushan is doing incredible work in Honduras, in Prospera, incredible stuff. The academy, the Bitcoin Academy in Prospera is amazing. And I mean, Rox himself, the Coover Bitcoin, I really have to learn how to pronounce it, sorry. The DB guy is doing himself a lot of lecture, recording many lectures. So it becomes an obsession, and the quality is, I would say, incomparable. The average quality is not comparable with the normie fiat world, let alone the crypto shitcoin world.
That was the biggest intro ever. Okay, so take a seat. You know the other two guys. We just talk about them. Come on over, Elias and Luis. They went to the barbecue. They can't wait to eat the Greek barbecue. Basically, we call it souvla. It's more of a Cyprus term. It's here. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. So, in order to make like a very short break from the Bitcoin talks and given the time and space to, set it up in these very convenient chairs, I wanted to talk to you about two things, really organizational stuff. Like one thing, be careful about the Greek sun. You might get sunburned, so wear sunscreen or wear a hat or go into the shade. The shade will not protect you enough, so just protect yourselves. You see me. Anyway, that's one thing. So take care so that you don't get a sunburn. It's gonna hurt tomorrow. The other thing is tomorrow I'm organizing a hike tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. We put it on the Telegram chat. Some people have already registered. So I just want you, everybody who is joining the hike, it's gonna be a 3-hour hike, relatively easy, I would say, but it does require you to be, in a good physical condition. We're gonna hike from Pira to Ia. It's amazing. We're gonna hike on the caldera. The views are spectacular. I've done it another 4 times. Every time on the island, I do the hike. So whoever wants to join and has not registered in the group, they need to come to me because I need to calculate how many people we are and calculate what kind of bus or transportation is going to take us there. Also be aware that there's going to be a small surcharge, not to me, but to the bus driver who's going to drive us there because it's not a circular route. So they're going to drop us off in the morning and then they're going to pick us up. It's going to be a 3 to 4 hour hike depending how quickly we make it. And we're going to start from here at 9 o'clock in the morning. It can be combined with the boating accident, but we need to know if you're joining both so that we can make it happen. So whoever wants to join the hike, come to me. I'm going to do it the traditional way, put it down in a pencil and a note, write down their names, and make sure that we are all there, and we have all transportation to go there. Another thing.
But by 9 o'clock, you mean 9 o'clock?
Yeah, 9 o'clock, we're leaving from here.
No, it's not plus minus.
Okay. Well, there is enough time to have a breakfast and we're going to have some energy.
Catch the boat.
Yeah.
Because if you leave 10 o'clock.
What else? So, yeah, sorry for the interruption. Sorry to keep you waiting. It is amazingly popular jersey. I'm going to be one of these. Anyway, I just wanted to say one more thing. With Natalie and Andreas, we are running the Athens Bitcoin blockchain meetup. And this is voluntary work. And I've heard about a lot of voluntary work being done here and a lot of free material. And this is really important in terms of not reinventing the wheel. Because we also teach at the academy with George, and every time it's a big path. How do we make the material? How do we create like good, relatable material? How do we find speakers? How do we do all this stuff? And it's really important that we share all this material and we don't reinvent the wheel every time. I also go on Greek national TV and I try to explain to them technology and Bitcoin. And I started Bitcoin like the thematic of Bitcoin like 1 month ago, and it's every time they get me in this conversation about making investments, and I want to go away from this conversation. But if anybody has any free material that they want to share, maybe we should have like we should put it on Telegram on the group and then share it with everybody so that it's all accessible to everybody in this group. That's just a suggestion. So yeah, that's it.
Mary is distracting me off stage. Mary is distracting me. I don't know what she wants. I don't know. Pass on the mic?
Yeah, I'm ready to pass on the mic, and I'm going to re-say about wearing sunscreen. But yeah, I think you're all adults here in the room.
Yeah. The funny thing is about sunning and what's his name? Stephen Luca, the guy with the sunning all the time, walking in the sun for like 3 or 4 hours, and yeah, but the Greek sun is gonna bite you in the butt basically if you sit around too much. That's why we have like half and half. If you want to get some sun, you sit in the sun. If you want to get some shade, it's nice and cool under the trees. It's very strategically placed, and it didn't happen by accident at all. Anyway, now that I have the people here, well, should we do this? No, we're going to talk about mining. Okay, you don't have a specific mining pool. Okay, you're not talking about specific pool. The customer chooses whatever, so you're a joker. Okay, it's a wild card basically. Joker we call it in the Greek. Sorry, it's a wild card. Okay, any pool that you want. Okay, you are using via BTC, right? Okay, you're gonna tell us why. And Giacomo is not representing Ocean. Okay, he's just here to hang out, and we're just gonna talk about the ocean. There's no ocean around here, but whatever. Okay, let's start off with like the big thing. Okay, like the numbers go up, and I'm gonna pass on the mic, and you can tell us your opinion. Okay, we spoke a lot about Michael Saylor, but you know the classic line, okay, all your models are destroyed. And this halving, all your models were destroyed. We saw some data analysis here from Luis. And how are you going to plan for the halving and the pre-halving and the price and whatnot? When historically we've had an all-time high after the halving, but now we just had two all-time highs, I think, just before the halving, and yeah, what's up with that?
Well, as you said, in the previous halvings, there was kind of like a consistency that first, 1 month before the halving, we hit like all-time lows. And then from there, like 5 or 6 months after the halving, then we hit the all-time highs again. This is like, I don't know how to call it, maybe a hyper cycle or something, but it's something that in previous data hasn't been seen, but we hit the all-time high like 3 weeks before the halving or before. So it's especially also with the hash rate difficulty going to all the way to the top. It's hard to paint a forecast of how you prepare, but you have to take one thing for sure. Hash rate difficulty is going exponentially high. So we're hitting all-time highs in last week, and I think difficulty went quite up, like a couple percentage. But the problem is once the halving is done, I think a forecast for quite some time there was gonna be some miners that they're gonna unplug due to the difficulty regard that is half, and then there will be again a kind of stabilization. But I think this linear thing of hashing difficulty, like I show, I think it will go more exponential in the way. So it's on uncharted territories, and you just have to, I think, expect for the worst and take a very high difficulty, and then prices of Bitcoin that they might dip even more than yesterday. So, yeah.
Yeah, for us, it's basically we didn't expect that this would happen, and we have our own really simple model and predicted like half a year ago. The model said something like 52K for the halving as a conservative price. And since it's uncharted territory, we kind of just go a bit slower and are more cautious about the next steps. And yeah, that's basically it. We are calculating with 52K Bitcoin for the halving, and then we'll see where it goes.
Thank you. Let me go a little bit philosophical here. So you cannot predict the price. You cannot. There is no way. There are two reasons for that. The first reason is that prices are complex outputs of very complex systems. So human beings are not molecules in a gas. You cannot do like one equilibrium equation. You cannot do that. It's like a chaos theory. One single, I mean, Michael Saylor gets up in a different way in the morning, and the price will change. So there are small changes in human actions that can make huge changes in the outputs. It's not linear, so you cannot predict everything. Second, it's like a self-defeating prophecy. If you study ants in nature and you find an equation that will predict the movement of ants, you can publish the equation and win a Nobel Prize, and the ants will keep doing that. If you find a price model that works, the market will know that you published the price model that works, and they will adjust their behavior consequently, so they will change the price. So you cannot predict the price without changing the price. Even if you don't publish it, you will have the prediction, so you will act, and by acting, you will change the price in a small way that may explode into a larger effect. So you cannot. That said, that doesn't mean that we cannot make any kind of prediction, gross grain prediction. We can for, I think we in Bitcoin, we can for two reasons. First of all, there are some kind of effects that are not actually self-defeating but self-fulfilling prophecies. For example, the Lindy effect. We know that something that is being around for a while will be more likely to be around for the same amount of time. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If everybody knows that, that will just reinforce the result and not defeat it. So there are some kind of things that are a little bit self-reinforcing. So it's not fair to say that the price of Bitcoin tomorrow has the same probability to be 50K or zero. That's not true. 50K is way more probable than zero, and probably 60K is more probable than 50K. There is some continuity in price. It's not a random walk that can go everywhere. Well, it's not a random dice. It's more like a random walk from a point. The second point is that in Bitcoin price, we can assume a lot of information asymmetry. So some of the investors in Bitcoin are like the ants in nature. They don't know anything and they behave in a clueless way because of the eternal September phenomenon. New people are coming into Bitcoin every cycle, and these people show some behaviors that are the same of the previous cycle. So when you like the first cycle of Bitcoin, you have the libertarians and the cypherpunk coming in. They think that they cross $1, they get to 30, they get overexcited, then they correct and they overcorrect, and then the next cycle will basically start with $30 as a floor. Then you have the second cohort, the scammy traders. They use the same floor and they build up because there's new money coming in, and they have the same fallacies, the same expectations. So now we have Wall Street and we have nation states, and we can assume that most of them, they will fall in the same fallacies. So the fact that we can predict, so like last cycle, I was telling people it will not go on forever, it will have a correction. And they were not believing it because they were new. Now they know, but now new people are coming in with the same policies. So this cyclicity, like for example, a miner knows that halving is coming, but still, if they have to sell because they have to pay for the bills, they sell, and they will still sell, and there will be a supply shock. They will be affected by the supply shock, even if they could predict it because they are not actively predicted. They have a short-term calculation. So I think it's just to clarify, we cannot tell you this is the price tomorrow. That doesn't make any sense. But we can make some kind of bets on cyclical behavior of the price, which makes sense.
Well, since we're talking about mining, I had a discussion yesterday with Elias, and he said a line that I wanted to discuss on this panel. He mentioned that ASICs went 10x, they went 10 times up, plus halving, because it was a bull market, but now they're not. And why is that? And you had a comment that volatility will go down. Obviously, because your miners, like the heaviest thing that you're invested in are the actual miners, like the actual machines. So what are you seeing with that, and how does that affect you?
Well, I think we haven't seen it yet for this cycle. So I think it will be a spike of miners because what is my understanding from this world or where we are right now is mainly sponsored by the ETFs, but retail market, let's say like no coiners or first time owners, there hasn't been an impact yet on this area, and I think this will activate once Bitcoin goes to 100,000 because it's like quite a good number for retail. So I think this disparity on miners on ASIC machines, it will be like once we hit 100K, we will have crazy things from the dealerships, and then it's like a black market because it's hacking everyone, and it's terrible. They control it like this, unfortunately, and we have to suffer as miners. But that's why, yeah, you cannot. I think it's coming yet.
So you're saying now is a good time to invest in a miner?
I think so. I mean, the prices 2 or 3 months ago in January were the lowest hash price I see on machines. So actually machines that you could buy for 6,000 like a year ago. Now they were 2,000. There's 19 days. I'm just talking about Bitmain because, but also I saw, I think in West Miner it was the same. They were, I mean, they were clearing off because a lot of stockists or authorized resellers, they just bought a lot and they were thinking that they would have it, and now there's a lot of stock, right? Still, so there's a lot of stock.
I just want to add to this because we've also seen like price disparities based on the electricity price in a certain region. So if you have one model of a miner, one specific model, it might cost something like 2,000 USD in a place like Russia or Kazakhstan, where electricity is cheap and you don't get that much out of hydro. But in the US, you might get it for 1,700 because the electricity price there is higher, and if it's an older model, the profitability is really low in the US, but the profitability is still great in a place like Kazakhstan. So the prices for the machines are actually more or less localized based on how profitable are they in the current conditions of the country they are sold in. And the alternative is always to directly buy from the producer, but this comes with, most often this comes with long waiting times, or even if they ship it directly, you might have to wait a month until it arrives by ship if you don't do air freight basically. And for us, it's especially we expected miner prices to surge, so for Bitcoin miners to surge before the halving, because we thought everyone was expecting the price to go up before the halving or the halving, but we haven't seen it, so we had to kind of replan everything for the next 3 months.
Let me get a little bit philosophical here. So in the basically in mining, the specialization of hardware is not just linear but goes in jumps. But we may be out of jumps. So from CPU, CPUs are general purpose computing chips that can do everything, but they don't do anything particularly well. So they were very slow. You can have better GPUs, but not so much. Then you go with the GPUs. They are more specialized. They do fewer things, but better. And so they can basically, they represented the jump in basically in hardware efficiency. And but you cannot go up forever with that. Then there was a jump in FPGA. So there are chips that are programmed explicitly to do only Bitcoin mining. They are generic chips, but they are programmed at the firmware level to do just that. And that's another jump in specialization. Then you have ASICs. ASICs are chips that are printed in silicon just to do Bitcoin mining. They cannot do anything else. So they're super efficient at that. But even now, we are basically probably at the end of the optimization you can do with an ASIC. Maybe not yet the end, but we are very close. We are like 5 nanometers, 4 nanometers, 3 nanometers. You get to a point in which quantum tunneling is basically making it impossible to have error corrected computation. So we are basically at the end of some kind of technological cycle, and we cannot go much further. So last halving, the difference in computational power between last halving and the previous halving was a qualitative difference. This time is not. It's basically just quantitative, I would say. Still ASICs, they're better ASICs. Next halving, it could be even less, basically. So I would say that maybe one of the reasons the price of the miners is not going up the same may also be that the difference so most of the hardware that has been purchased during the last months is still not obsolete, and it may not become obsolete for a while because the difference between the 6 nanometers and the next may be very slow. That said, we may have another quantum leap in hardware. I don't know. My theory, I don't know anything about electronics, so maybe it's just bullshit, but my theory is that we could move from ASICs to analog computers for mining. That could be a thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making it up. But in that case, there could be another jump, and then all the miners will have to buy again, basically to buy new ASICs or not ASICs.
So basically, we don't have that quantum leap in processing power, Moore's law, and whatnot. Well, from what I've seen, basically the new miners are just 2 miners stuck together. Like they have literally two PSUs and they are at a double box and they ship it as one unit and that's it. Better, yeah, okay. That's why hydro miners make miners wet. Okay, tell us about that.
Well, I mean, there's amazing projects starting with hydro. So maybe you read about this guy in New York City, and he has a spa, and what he hits the spa with miners. What it makes hydro is like actually you can conduct this thermodynamics. You can just conduct the temperature and use it in different purposes. So I mean, the first run on investment is a little bit higher, but it's the most efficient and profitable machine that is still as now. Of course, like you say, it's almost like two machines together because right now, yeah, the price is high, but it is in terms of loss of energy is the lowest one. So it's very nice. I like it. I agree. Maybe in the future, AMD just released like a super chip. I'm not that deep technical about chips, but maybe they will use this type of technology that AMD invested for a lot of money, and maybe they use or they will create. Maybe it's not called an ASIC, whatever, a new technology to mine. So that's the overall. What we can be sure, I think, is the hash rate difficulty will be all time highs, and maybe I can't like estimate forecast like maybe a double, but it can be more because now it's convergence.
But for us, it's also I think it's also about the reuse of energy. So why hydro makes so much sense? Because if you so if you calculate it for I'm using Watts miners here, but for a Watts miner M60 and you check how many air-cooled models you can buy for one hydro-cooled, and you compare the for the lifetime basically how much money would you or how much Bitcoin would you make with the current prices, with the current difficulty, everything, and you project it out. In many places in the world, the air-cooled miners will be more profitable because there's just less cost around the whole thing. If you take a 20 feet container and pack it full of hydro miners, the hot water or the hot coolant has to go somewhere to be cooled down. So you have a 20 feet container, then in front you have something like a dry cooler, and then you have your transformer. And it just adds so much capex or money you have to invest beforehand to even get going. That you need good infrastructure around the place where you mine to be able to use the heat that is coming out in the coolant. So I think personally in the future, with solutions like heaters for companies, it will be the big interesting thing will be starting at small units with only one miner in them for small businesses or homes, and going to bigger companies that have to like heat a whole hall with employees in their logistics or something like that. The big interesting thing will be heat representation. Basically, taking the heat, the excess heat, and using it for heating in geographical locations where you need heating most of the year. And this could start with something small like a small business ordering one miner and they just plug it in and it will mine to a pool of a bigger project. So I think this is the future of hydro more or less, and of course in areas that are really hot, like in the Arab area where they have a lot of energy, but cooling is really hard. So that's where you actually need hydro.
I will try not to get philosophical. Let me just get autobiographical. So it's cool what you said about the New York spa, because in 2016 I invested in a mining farm in Bulgaria. It failed because it was hard to get ASICs. So the entrepreneur decided to get GPUs and to mine shitcoins, and to all shitcoins. 2017, all shitcoins went down, so everything failed. But it was cool because we discussed it with the owner of the place to do a mining pool in the sense of the literal pool hidden by miners. The idea was to have the transparent floor and have the like ASICs under the transparent floor heating up the water of the pool, and you can watch it while you stay there. It was a realistic bet then for several reasons. One is the obsolescence rate of ASICs. If you have to replace them too often, that doesn't work. That's getting better for the reason we said before. The second was that liquid cooling back then was still very, very hard to do. Now it's starting to become a thing, but back then was very, very hard. And the point for us was not to generate heat in the next room, was to have it like under the pool, which was a little bit crazy. And also the point is that you cannot heat directly. You cannot have very high temperatures out of ASICs. The temperatures are low, so you have to use the excess heat in order to basically fuel a heat pump or something. But you cannot. So it's like 20 degrees or something. You cannot have very very hot water. Maybe you can go a little bit higher, but you need a heat pump. So it was not very realistic. But the point is that even if what I wanted to say is that even if everybody used mining to heat up spaces in Iceland or whatever, still the Bitcoin system fights against the miners in a way because the miners are seeking efficiency, while the Bitcoin system doesn't want efficiency. It wants to generate costs to reorg the network. So the point of Bitcoin is that reorging the block should be costly. So the miners will fight to make it less costly because they don't want to spend too much money. They want to recycle heat to do everything. And Bitcoin will adjust in order to make it more expensive again. Oh fuck! I went philosophical again. I guess. Sorry.
I'm sorry everybody here knows that, but yeah, Satoshi's basically his greatest invention and that light bulb of genius was adding the difficulty adjustment because that's the what's the expression or running target or moving target that the miners have to hit, and that's what makes their life hard, but it makes Bitcoin hard as well. So let's go to the tools thing. Okay. Let's talk about templates right now with ocean mining. During our bit devs, we discussed Stratum V2 coming out and being a bit more serious. And I didn't know that you mentioned that ocean is not doing that, right? It's a different thing, and it's a good thing because we don't care. You're gonna get to talk about this. Do we like the templates? Like, if you want, someone can explain what the templates are, in case someone doesn't know, because it's a bit convoluted for the casual Bitcoin user. And do the miners like the templates? Do they want the people to choose them? Are they hassle? What are they?
Well, I think for me, I'm not a super technical person in terms of mining and block, but Slush and Brains, which they actually created the Stratum V2. It's for me at least that we can change from a pool to another is the standard in the mining industry. I think, like I can say like maybe 80%, 85% of the tools they use the same strategy. Now, with the tide and ocean, then it will create two different maybe systems. It's very interesting. I haven't gone into detail of all the share work, but I checked them out a little bit after the conversation of yesterday. And I think what it will create is, like we said, a secondary market to buy shares on a discount rate and maybe impose more hash difficulty or maybe less. I don't know. I haven't read, but it's very interesting what it has. I think the Stratum, I mean, it's still gonna be a standard, but now you'll be able to have two different, let's say, templates of how it works. So that's my assessment.
Yeah, I'm also not really into the new technologies in that area. We are just using BFETC for the project because we know the guys and they pay out the full network fees. So we've seen days where the network fee is actually like 20-30% of the profit, and only the other part is coming from the block rewards. And maybe this will also get interesting in the future. looking how fast the network fee will replace the buffer blocks.
If you want, if we're not getting too long, I can explain a little bit what this is all about. So basically, if you are a solo miner, which is the most decentralized option possible, but very inefficient, you basically create your block and then you try to solve it, finding the right nodes. So that's the Satoshi's vision of mining. Everybody with a computer will create a block. This is cool, but he has a very high variance. So if you are a small miner, the probability to get paid eventually is very high, but maybe you take 90 years in order to be paid on average. You don't have 90 years to wait. So instead of you waiting 90 years, you join other 90 people and you do that in 1 year, getting just 1/90th of the reward. So basically you pull together, not because you gain more, you don't make more money by pooling. You make the same money, actually less because you have some coordination cost, but you make it soon so you can survive. So it's just a lower variance thing. The problem with this is that we went from solo miners, which are super decentralized option, to traditional mining pool, which are a super centralized option. They are like centralized agents that will do everything. They will do the block creation. They will do literally everything. And in Bitcoin, what you put into a block is sensitive because some pool can decide to ask the US government what transaction they have to censor. Some pools can decide to filter spam too aggressively, and some people may disagree, or not aggressively enough, and some people may disagree. Some pools may decide to actually signal for a soft fork or a hard fork or something else or not. So there are a lot of things that can happen in a pool if you give control of the template creation. So Luke Dashir, that was the creator of the second mining pool in history that was called Eligius, he had an idea back in 2017 that was get block template. Get block template was the idea that miners will run a full hashers, the people with the ASICs, the mining farms, they will have to run their own full node and decide their blocks, and then the pool will just make sure that everybody is paid equally. They will just manage the payment distribution and not the block creation. So the guy, the farm that will find the block will be the one calling the shots about the block content, not the pool. The pool will just enforce the payout distribution in order that nobody can scam each other. So that's the vision of get block template. It was never implemented because Luke shut down Eligius or basically sold it or whatever. So then this idea was revamped as better hash, but it was never implemented. And then came Stratum v2. Stratum is a protocol for mining that does many things: encryption, standardization for pool hopping, and stuff like that. So Stratum was a lot of things, and Stratum v2 is a lot of things, not just this. But one of the things of Stratum v2, or one of the small parts of Stratum v2, which is getting people excited, is exactly this idea of getting back to the get block template idea, where miners can do their own template. Or, as we were discussing yesterday, which is more accurate, they can not do their template, but instead of delegating it to the pool, they can delegate it to somebody else. For example, I will mine with Ocean, but my template will be provided by Blockstream or whatever. So we can just decentralize that. Of course, the question was, will miners like it? I think the answer is no. Miners like, as I was saying before, efficiency. They just want to, I mean, they for example, tide process of paying is higher variance. So miners will not like it very much. If they can, they would like to be paid just consistently every month. The point is that the Bitcoin network, I think, will like it more because it's more decentralized, and decentralization comes to a cost. The most decentralized option is solo mining. The variance is so high that it's not viable. Then a little bit more centralized will be braid pool, in which you do have the decentralization, but you can coordinate the payout, but it's still probably too decentralized to be effective. Then there is something like get block template, like what Ocean is doing and what some part of Stratum v2 is doing. And this is a little bit more centralized, but not totally. And then there are traditional mining pools that are totally centralized right now. They are probably too centralized to be good for Bitcoin. Braid pool is probably, in my opinion, too decentralized to be effective. Solo mining is over. So Ocean tries to be a little bit in between.
Always good to fill a gap in the market, and I'm sure there are very good arguments for and against it, for different arguments. Let's not get into that exactly, but since you talk about centralization and stuff like that of mining, realistically, the only danger to Bitcoin is the 51% attack. If you agree, like the actual threat to Bitcoin. And you can't really do much with it, but yeah, it is a risk. And right now, there's a tweet by Mononaut. Many people know him, Mononautical, I think it's his username. And he does UTXO analysis. He finds weird stuff. He comments on them, and he does pretty good work, like explaining the very technical stuff that he finds out. And there was a tweet where he found that 47% of miners have centralized UTXOs. Okay, they go to the same entity basically. So that is a point of centralization. What is up with that? Is that a threat? Is it nothing burger or whatever? Tell us about that.
Well, I think that number is very accurate, and also if you know who's the custodian for those pools, you will be more impressed because it's almost like two players that are custodians for many of the pools. So on the macro size is quite centralized. Now maybe with lightning payments, it reduces the threshold, which usually is the minimum in the layer one is 0.005 BTC. Below that, you don't get a payment. But with Lightning, you can go up to certain satoshis, which actually can take a little bit of centralization. I think in overall, and maybe I'm gonna go outside also of the topic a little bit, but I think recent regulations has take out the anonymity of Bitcoin with all the KYCs and KYBs. So governments and local, like central entities, they want to control you more. Before we have like local Bitcoins and peer-to-peer places, marketplaces in Europe to buy Bitcoin. Now P2P marketplaces is very hard. So if you actually want to buy Bitcoin without KYC, it's a little bit more challenging now. And they want to introduce also, because of the pools, I think in the future you will have to do KYC for some. So it's always good to have a different approach and be more decentralized. Maybe new pools arrive with less norms or regulations. So I hope that is. I don't know if I answered the question. Yeah.
The threshold, and we spoke yesterday about BitDevs, and Giacomo had a very nice comment that Lightning payouts will help with the UTXO set, and that will release the hands of the pools that need to do that centralization to bundle basically the transactions, right? That's what I get.
Yeah, so that's the main. So Lightning will accelerate, like take less custodian in the pool.
Yeah, I would basically agree. I think the 51% attack it's easier than many people think it is if you are a government. But it has less of an impact because it's an annoyance basically, and it's a risk factor we can decrease as a Bitcoin community overall by choosing other pools as miners, and by deciding for smaller non-centralized smaller non-centralized option every time we have the opportunity to do so. Because for us, we couldn't go to some bigger pools because we don't do KYC. And so, for example, with BTC, they had no problem with it. That's why we went there. And if when they start to do KYC, which I don't think so, but might happen, or they do some other bullshit, or we don't like something they do, we will switch to another pool. And that's just it basically. So the pools are really they also have competition, and I think if they, as soon as the pools do too much stuff that Bitcoiners actually don't like and miners don't like, it will take a few weeks until there's an alternative that doesn't do that. So it's a big risk, but not a long-term problem.
I think that's a very good answer. There are two kinds of centralization. One is bad centralization, in which everybody uses the same single point of failure. When the point of failure gets attacked, it fails, and all the system fails because the cost to switch to another point is so high that the market cannot organize, cannot coordinate, so the system fails. So you have e-gold, it gets attacked by the government. We could, in theory, recreate another e-gold and get to the same network effect, but it's too expensive to do it in time, so it just fails. Bitcoin has a lot of good centralizations in which, as long as everything is good and nobody's attacking us, we do centralize because it's convenient and it's efficient. But when the single points get attacked, we can easily fall back on more suffering and more inefficient and more decentralization. Like, for example, we are lightning routing. We all route through the same hubs because it's efficient. It's less expensive and more reliable. If they get shut down, if Async and a few others get shut down, our protocol will automatically find another routing with higher fees and a higher failure rate. It's bad, but the network will automatically re-decentralize. Mining is similar because if one pool is used in order to censor, for example, hashers will likely find another pool and it will just switch back. What the real metric there is how expensive it is to basically bribe the pool into hurting Bitcoin, and how expensive it is to get out of the pool in order to re-decentralize. And I think that there are 2 points. Like the first argument is about how easy it is to corrupt the pool, and there is where get block template or Stratum V2 makes a difference, because in that case, with block templates, the miner will have to know before what they are mining on. So if the pool is censoring transaction, you will see it before you put your work. In traditional pools, you see it after, and maybe your incentive to go out is lower. But also the point is how expensive it is to opt out and to switch out. And there is where custodianship plays a big role, because if your money is custodied by the pool, then you say, oh, I don't like your block templates anymore, I'm going out. And the pool say, oh, well, your money will remain here. Or you have to wait for a threshold, you have to wait. So in that case, working on the custody model can help hashers to run away from the pool when they have to run away, to make your threat model actually effective. So right now, it's not like that because you have to reach a threshold. So if you're smaller, you cannot run away. You're forced, even if you don't like the templates, or you are censoring Bitcoin, you are reorging, you still have to stay there because your money is there. You are wasting all your work. Lightning helps that even if it's custodial. So like Brains right now, you can mine to a custodial Lightning address, and then you can take it out like in an exchange. It's still better, even if it's still custodial. It's better because at any moment, if you think you have to run away with Lightning, you can just cash out, or lower threshold and fast times, just like in exchanges like Kraken or Bitfinex or implemented Lightning. It's good to implement Lightning. What Oceans want to do is something a little bit more. Basically, the idea is that right now, Ocean, under the threshold, everything is still custodial. It's not the correctly legal term, but this is another point. The reason mining pool should not be custodial, if possible, is that custody will make it easier for the regulators to impose KYC. If you are keeping other people's money, the regulator will come, oh, now you are a financial service, you have to do KYC. If you don't, you are just a software coordinator. You don't have to do any KYC. In theory, of course, they will change the laws in order to impose it anyway. But for now, you have legal arbitrage. So it's better if you are not custodian at all. So Ocean right now, if you are above a threshold, they will include your payout in the outputs of the Coinbase of the blocks you are mining on. So when you mine, you see that your payment is already included inside the Coinbase. This is inefficient though, because the output will take up space, which will reduce the block space for including other transactions and reduce the fees overall. So it's not very good. And also below this threshold, you are still just custodial, like in the other pools. So what Ocean wants to do is to create a share market with Lightning. So the idea is that if your shares of what you're being paid are below the threshold, you can instantly sell it via Lightning, and the money pool will recognize the Lightning payment as a transfer of the share, so that bigger miners can just buy out the shares at a discount, of course. So the small miners can be paid immediately with a discount, and big miners can get a discount in order to take the time they have to wait. There are other implications on these. For example, block maturity. You know that when you get an output in a block, you cannot spend it for 100 blocks. People with this market, with this Lightning market, share market, people that mine, they will get money instantly without waiting for 100 blocks. While people that get paid in the output, they will have to wait 100 blocks, but they will get a discount. So it's an interesting market. And the idea is that in the future, if Ocean works very well, you could have for every block one single output, freeing up a lot of space for higher fees, and everybody else is paid by the single miner via Lightning. Of course, this is a very ambitious market equilibrium, but I think it's possible. It would be very, very cool.
It's getting kind of hot here, and the sun is kind of strong, so we kind of dozed off a bit. The discussion is very nice, but it's serious, it's technical. So one last question. It's nice and short. Are ordinals retarded?
Well, it's a very good question because myself, I've experienced ordinals firsthand. I think they just put the network to a test, and this is the thing with open source. You cannot mandate or you can do, but you have to make your network resistant, and if it cannot sustain ordinals, then I mean it's a bad example.
Yeah, well, the answer would also be yes, but I liked them. So it's kind of fun, and I think as miners we should only mine, and we should not tell anybody that is using the Bitcoin network our opinion if we think this is a good transaction or a bad transaction. It's not our business. We are there to mine. And if people are willing to pay fees to do their ordinals, that's fine.
Well, of course, my answer would be yes, because that was the title of my presentation. It was almost a joke, because retarded means stupid, but also coming in delay, because all these ordinals ideas, a very old idea from 2014. It was abandoned in Bitcoin in 2014 for very good reason. But you can just watch the talk. If you search for ordinals are retarded, you probably can find my talk. I would disagree with you, actually, about the idea that miners should just mine without any kind of concern for the system. For example, if the government was paying miners to censor blocks and just mine empty blocks, or to reorg other disruptively, miners that are just thinking about money, they will just be, oh, I see more fee, we just do it blindly. While the point is that you don't have to be altruistic, but you can be low-time preference. Like, if I mine on this system, but I just do stuff that will hurt the system, then maybe I will gain less in the future. So even just from a business perspective, it's not always about what makes me more money in the next block. It's also what makes me more money in the next 5 years. So there is a business reason, an economical reason to think long-term and to decide to give up some revenue for some reason. So if a miner thinks technically, like I do, that this kind of use is hurting the system for some reason, then it is economically reasonable to study trade-off. So how much money I can lose now to protect the system from hurt in the future? Then the second question would be, can I protect it at all? Because maybe your answer is, no, I can't. I cannot do anything about that. So it's useless that I lose money now because I cannot stop it, which is a legit answer. But there is this image that the miner just blindly does everything, which is not true. For example, we had an inflation bug exploited. The inflation, so let's go in with order. First of all, miners do not mine invalid transactions. Sometimes they tried. In the first halving, some miners said, but what the fuck? Why should I halve my revenue? Let's try to keep the revenue, the subsidy the same. They tried, and the network invalidated them. And so miners learned that they should not mine everything. First of all, they should not mine invalid transactions. That's already the thing, because from a permissionless point of view, you could say, okay, this is free open source software, so whatever thing you send me, I will mine it. No, if it's invalid, you will not, which is already a thing. Seems trivial, but it's not. It's already Bitcoin selecting a rule to impose. It's still libertarian because you're imposing it on your own mining machine, not on others. I don't come with a gun telling you you should not send invite transaction. Send it. I will not just mine it because mining it will hurt my business. So I will not. Then, with the inflation bug, there was a transaction that was valid under the rules, but not, was completely valid. But because it was a bug, that was the rules, but it was not the intention of the system to have this inflation bug. So many miners decided to not, the guy who exploited it tried to pay with a very high fee rate, of course. And the miners decided not to mine on those valid transactions and to make them invalid very quickly because, and to change the rules with the soft fork because that was hurting Bitcoin long term. So I think that a valid concern that I will respect from a miner is there are two of them. One, there is nothing we can do to stop it anyway. So don't bother me. I will not filter it out because there's not, that's respectable. It may be even true. Second is, I know that this hurts Bitcoin in long term, but right now I have to pay my bills. I cannot afford. The mining is very competitive, very low margin. So don't bother me. I cannot think about the long-term health of the system. And then there is the point that basically you expressed, which is fine. I mean, the solution cannot rely on miners being intelligent. If it's better if we find a solution or a mitigation that doesn't rely on miners not being retarded. That's I mean, I still think that miners should not be retarded if I can, but it's fair to say yes, but you should not rely on that because that's lazy thinking. We should have a Bitcoin which is resilient to very, very evil miners. So if I was a miner, which basically in some way I have been, I would say I will try to not be retarded and to think of a good old system, but I know that the system should find mitigation that are beyond that assumption. If we just expect miners to be honest, then, for example, running node is useless. Let's just trust miners and USPV. So in Bitcoin, we're expecting miners to be malicious in many things like like a full RBF, stuff like that. We are trying to build a system that even if miners are malicious, will still work, which is very hard to do because it happens. So yes. So my answer would be yes, but Bitcoin should be retarded proof.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks everyone for this panel. It was technical. It was philosophical. Okay. We talk about ordinals. We got all the buzzwords. So yeah, this video is gonna do well. Okay. Thank you guys. Right now we are behind on schedule, but like I said, this is Greece, so we don't mind that much. I have to ask if you're ready. Perfect. Okay, you give us a couple of minutes to set up. Just plug in the laptop. You have to open you plug that in. Okay, the talks were a bit technical, but hopefully we got some value out of it. The important thing is to have the backbone of Bitcoin, to have that foundation basically, and it's a dynamic thing. That's what you see. Even miners between them are disagreeing on stuff. It's not a set thing. It's not like a standard thing, and we can they argue, and it's a dynamic thing. Basically, an evolving organism, you could say, that is the Bitcoin protocol. And like Giacomo said, we want this to be trustless on all sides. So next up is Vios. He's one of my friends. He's a Greek educator. He's a technical guy. He's doing a Greek style YouTube channel, basically like BBC sessions, trying to explain things simply to people. Today, he's just gonna talk a bit about Nostr. Okay, who uses Nostr here? You use Nostr? Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. That's like 30% of people. Even though a lot of Bitcoiners do use Nostr, because the learning curve is so high, many people have said, "Oh, I've tried it and abandoned it, and figured it out," or something like that. So the point of this little talk is to do this, and as soon as we're done with the talk, we're gonna do a break, and we're gonna have some food, and you will be able to tell Bios to teach you how to use Nostr in a proof of work session at room 101. Okay, he will be there. We will go there, and he will show us how to use it. Here's a short intro about it. Oh, okay. I can ramble on. 1 minute. Since we're talking about Nostr, I really like Nostr, but the truth is that the daily active users are not there. So typically, yeah, that's a good start. Hello, bye. Okay, here's Bios, kind of status. Okay, he's not anonymous. He used to be anonymous. Now he's not. Anyway, you make up your mind. So this is all you.
So I'm very happy to be here.
All right.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings to if someone is watching from a live stream. So the idea is that I make a small presentation about 5-10 minutes, so you know in theory how Nostr works, and then afterwards, while eating and after the food, we can be in the corner room to play with applications and stuff. So of course I'm not having 200 slides for it's not connected. So yep. Sorry for that.
Give us a minute to figure that out.
Few accounts.
Just change my phone for that passwords.
Devo chiamare le scorse del slide. Quindi quanto pila abbiamo? Solo di queste pile?
Questi altri due. Sì. Ma in realtà mi dava un bel po' di ore.
Devi trovare. Sì. Chiedo a lui.
Sì, esatto. Riesce a recuperare un po' di
Okay, so we don't want this situation to happen, and we don't do that here. So what's Nostr? It's an abbreviation. So every letter means something. It's notes and other stuff, whatever basically you can think of, transmitted by relays, and we will analyze very briefly what this means. So. As Edward Snowden has said in one of his posts, if a platform is a silo, a protocol is a river. So Nostr is not a platform like Twitter, like X, like Facebook, like TikTok. It's a protocol like Bitcoin. And who created this protocol? Who designed it? It's a pseudonymous developer called Fiat. Something like that. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly. Many people say that this developer is Brazilian or lives in Brazil or has some connection to Brazil. Okay, but we never. He's also a Bitcoin developer. And in this, you may not be able to see this photo, but it's a screenshot from Jack Dorsey's Twitter profile. Even Jack Dorsey, who has left Twitter now, understands why Nostr is important, and he has posted his ID on Nostr in Twitter. So Nostr is a protocol, but for what? For transmitting nodes and other stuff through relays. what can be that other stuff? It can be text, posts, and comments on those posts. It can be images. It can be whatever, anything else that you may imagine. Even information about lightning payments, and that's where the fun stuff begins, and we will do it afterwards. So all this information, all this stuff is transmitted from relays. So because the screen is small, let's move to something bigger. And if you imagine that this big circle is Twitter or Facebook or TikTok or any other platform, all these smaller circles are the users. So they have to connect to the platform to post things, to write stuff. So the platform decides what can be heard, what can be written, what should be published, or if they want, they can delete something. We have seen it in the past with before Elon Musk bought Twitter, with the Twitter files. But in Nostr, it works the other way around. So you may imagine that all the users sit here, and there are many, many different servers around the world, that are called relays. So every user can connect to any relay that they want. They can connect to 1, 10, 20 relays, as many relays as they want. And so whatever they write and they post is published in all the relays that the user is connected to. So if a relay, if the administrator of a relay wants to delete something, then it will delete it, but that post or that thing that is published will be available in every other relay. So basically, there is no point of deleting things because they will still exist at some other server, and all the other users can find those relays and see what everyone is posting. I hope you get it. Okay. So how do we use Nostr? We don't make an account with an email and the password like in platforms. Every user has a secret key and the public key. Of course, the secret key should be kept secret at all times, like a Bitcoin private key. Of course, it's not, as far as I know, as of now, there is not like a seed phrase to store it. You have to store it as a file, as a sequence of letters and numbers. And from this secret key, you produce a public key. And with this public key, any other user in Nostr can find you. Okay. And whenever you want to publish something, you use a client application. So every user that sits here, has to use a way to tell the relays that here, this is my post, this is my comment, this is my image, this is my video, this is my live stream. You can even do live stream in Nostr. So you sign that content with your secret key, and you give it to the relays through a client application. And there are client applications for any operating system that you know. There is Amethyst for Android. There is Damus for iOS, for iPhone. There is Iris for web browsers, any web browser you want. There is Primal, which is both for iOS and Android. It's a fantastic application. There is Plebster, both for iOS and Android. There is Snort, which is a web-based also. You can use it through your PC. And many, many other. There are clients that are being developed as we speak. It's a very new technology, and many, many developers contribute to this space. So that's it. That is my public key as a QR code. So afterwards you can scan it to find me with any client that you use to find me on Nostr. Thank you very much, and I will be taking questions if you want.
These relays, they use resources. Who pays for these resources?
Good question. There are relays that are for, you can use them for free, and there are some relays that you have to pay a small fee to use them. Okay, so many relays that you have to pay them accept Bitcoin, of course, through Lightning, And most of them, for now, it's a one-time fee. So when they see a post with your public key that you have paid for, they accept it and they store it. Okay. And of course, any user can run a relay. There are solutions. We will talk about them afterwards. It's pretty easy now to run a relay of your own and store everything yourself.
Why someone want to be a server for the Nostrum system?
Maybe for the idea of censorship resistance. Okay, and of course, if in the future censorship happens from governments and big organizations, then many other people that can run relays, they may add that one-time fee or very small pay per post. I don't know. There are many ideas.
If I am a server, can I run my own relay? Or I must have a server to run my own relay?
You need to have a computer to run the relay.
Relay, I must be a server to run a relay. Or
No, the relay is a server. Not everything is stored there. So you can be the relay. Okay. So Twitter has some very big data centers that store all the stuff. In Nostrum, stuff is stored everywhere. Many relays.
Yeah, but if I'm a server, I collect all the relays, right?
No. You store whatever users post on your relay. Just store them there.
But if I am a member in the other relay, my relay is also see the other relays.
Yeah, relays can talk to each other. Users are here, and these are all relays. So every user can connect to as many relays as they want, but relays can talk to each other to share information, to share posts. Okay, but the user, when posts something, posts only to the relays that specific user is connected. So imagine that if you post something in the same time, both in Twitter and Facebook, kind of. Okay. If we have to compare it to the traditional model, something like that. Anything else?
My question about the trends for Nostrum, and one is that sharing stuff with right? And what do you think are other trends for Nostrum? I see the visualization already, and also for me, it's very important. I mean, the fact that the app for our stores can stop the application very easily when you download that on your smartphone, right? So we have seen that with downloads that they stopped the download. So how do you see any trends for Nostrum?
There are threats, but there are many ways to. There are many sly roundabout ways to circumvent those threats. Of course, it is like something like the mining pools that were the previous panel said. That if you see that a relay is deleting stuff, you can connect to other relays. You can run your own relay, so your posts are saved there. And afterwards, after some time that more relays, big relays are back online, your posts, all your stuff can be transmitted to them. So it will be obvious that you had said those things in the past. Okay. And the other thing is that you can use it from a web browser in your PC. So you can yeah. In many Android, at least in Android phones, you can install applications without this.
Done very, very fast.
It's
And so we are feeling
it's very new. It's very new.
so new that
It's very new.
it's better to break somewhere now and later. And understand you can break. I don't know, of course, but try to find every single way in which not properly the best thing now.
It is like Bitcoin in 2012, something like that. Yes.
I don't know if that's if it's possible to create any kind of account, create multiple accounts, could you create a fake account and put that fake account to be mitigated? So how does that be controlled? Create a whole pile of accounts.
You mean how do you fight spam? You need. There is a way to verify yourself through your website. So there are services that you can pay a small fee, and you can get some verification through them, or you can verify your public key through your website if you have a website. It can be done. Of course, if you lose your private key, you lose access to your profile. They can post as yourself. They can pretend that they are you. So you have to be careful. Yes, but there are also right now being developed. There are some devices that you can store the private key in a separate device. The guys that are building LM bits have built a device. You can. It's a Noster signer, they call it. No. If you issue a new private key, it will be a different public key, and it will be a different profile.
Works. To recover somehow this private key.
You mean a way to store it like a seed phrase in Bitcoin?
Something like that.
Yeah, you can find you can be creative. You can imagine many ways to store it. No, it's imagine that in Bitcoin the exact analogy in Bitcoin would be you have only one private key and only one address. That's yeah, good idea, but maybe we can tell it to developers to think about it. Yeah, we can tell it to developers and maybe they can build something. Okay? Yes.
How is the data storage addressed, or does it always just file up? Does it get streamed at all, ever, or as long as somebody stores it, it's there?
The relays have to store it, have to store information. Like any in the traditional model, Twitter has to store everything.
So all the videos, all the images, all the times, all
No,
the users.
you can if you want to post a video or an image, you can either if the relay can store it directly, or you can upload it somewhere else and post the link. So anyone that sees your post, your link will be there, and it can be automatically loaded, and any other user can see the video or the image.
And you, as a relayer, you can choose what to store, or so that
Yes, you can
some...
store. Yeah. You can add there are many new possibilities implemented. Like in Bitcoin, you have the BIPs. In Nostr, we have the NIPs, and they implement continuously new stuff. Okay. Thanks, everyone. See you later in the.
Okay, guys. We have the barbecue, which is going to be ready at 3 o'clock. And we were thinking that maybe you want to take like a 5-minute coffee, toilet break, or we want to take it like straight to the barbecue. So break or no break? No break. Okay. Then we want to maybe keep it a bit lighter, and maybe it would be a good idea to introduce Francis from Changeable.
I need to get my laptop.
Ah! Yeah, you need to get your laptop. And tell us about the game that you developed. So a few things in between. We have some stuff that it's in the front room. There are some books. The English version, you can just grab a book for your friends. The Greek versions are translated by Nina. And if you are interested in the Greek version, just go to her and ask her about how you can purchase it. It's really important to understand that the translation work takes effort, especially like in languages like Greek and in technical concepts as Bitcoin. So for the Greek books, if you have Greek friends, go to Nina. If you're interested in the T-shirt and the bathing suit, and many people have come to me asking me about things like this and the swimming suit, I put a link on the Telegram group. And there's a coupon code by George, Love is Bitcoin. But yeah, you can just try out the stuff. If you like it, just go ahead and buy it online. What else? It's like really good quality stuff. I can say that. About all the other swap that there is there, just ask George because he knows everything about it and he has all the different like discount codes and different things that you can take advantage of and combine stuff. So just go to him. But otherwise, just feel free to ask around everybody. Now, more stuff. It's good that you are all guys international, like the majority of you. We have some Greek people. And I just want to say that together with Natalie and Andreas, we are running the Athens Bitcoin blockchain meetup. This is a meetup that started in 2013, one of the earliest ones. It's like really huge. The community, we have a huge community, and we are not the ones who started it. We just inherited it, like the organization from the older members who, there is a limit to what one can do for how many years they can do it. And now new blood with new energies coming in, and then Natalie and Andrea, like the new generation. So now we cover all the generations, like boomers, Gen Z, millennials, everything. And we have a community of 3,500 people. And it's always so hard to bring new people in. And we are always looking for speakers. So if anybody is in Athens, anytime in 2024, 2025, whatever, just contact us and we might find like a nice, interesting topic to discuss and communicate to the Greek audience in Athens. The speeches are always in English because we are applying to international audience and we want to make it, we're kind of advocating for the usage of Bitcoin. So we want to bring more people in. And I'm very glad that we see people who joined the last meetup and they are here in Santorini. So thank you for coming. And yeah, there's a lot of technical stuff happening there. So I'm just trying to fill in the gaps. I'm going to say again about wearing sunscreen because I already noticed that I'm getting sunburned. Take care. I see the sunscreen there. And during the barbecue, really guys, during the barbecue time, come to me, whoever wants to join the hike. It's really important because there are limited spaces in the bus. And if we are more, I need to find out a bigger bus for us to rent. Be aware that there is going to be a surcharge. It's not for me, it's for the transportation. It's expensive. I know it. I don't like it, but this is how things work here. The hike is spectacular. So if you want to join, join. It's not so hard. So are we ready with the game? Okay, so now we have the amazing opportunity to talk with Francis. I played this game yesterday. I like the fact that it's combining two things I like. Immediate transactions, betting, and competition, and sorry, a really easy to go, addictive, highly addictive game. Like I really like easygoing games like this. So I played once, I lost, not very proud of it. But now I want to play more, and I was thinking like about strategy. And even last night, I was talking with Andreas about how we can strategize about winning this very easy, intuitive game. Yeah, the technical thing not working, or what's wrong? Cool, it's working. It's working. We made it work. We do blockchain and we didn't get a screen up, whatever. Yeah. So thanks for coming, and tell us about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me. This is what's required to play chain duel, fast reflexes. So I start by exemplifying. So I have to look at the screen. So my presentation is mostly images and video graphical. So if you want to come a bit closer, maybe it's better. And I will go to this side maybe because I can see the screen from here. No. Okay. There's the game in the room over there, the gaming area. It's called Chain Duel. I'm Francis. I'm developer of Chain Duel. I work with Pedro, he's a designer. And today I'm going to tell a bit about the history of Chain Duel, what's the technology behind it, a bit how you can build a lightning game like this, and talk a bit about the future and the plans. So let's go. For the people that didn't play it yet, I already harassed a lot of people around here to come and try the game, but if you haven't played, the game is over there, but I will explain a bit. It's like a snake game, so there's two players. And two players, they compete, there's two chains, the players are, each player is a chain, and they both compete for the next block reward. So you might know the game, it's Snake, the old block in the game, and but in this case, it's two snakes, two chains, and the food, it's a coin-based, block reward. So it's everything about Bitcoin analysis. I'm sorry, but the internet is a bit slow, so the videos might have some problems loading. This is supposed to be a video of the game, just for you to have an idea. So normally there's two chains. You can see the background image in 3D. The game is not in 3D, but help technical people. Okay, there's a video loading. So this is the game. You can see there's a white chain and a black chain, and on the top there's both players' names. There's a kind of lightning channel, like it resembles a lightning channel that is the liquidity of both players. And as you take the food, the coin base, you take sats from the opponent. This is mainly the gist of the game. So what we are trying at Chain Duel, we are trying to create a very engaging, very competitive experience. So we hope that sometimes I'm in the battlefield, I see people really into it, really competitive, and we are in the background just enjoying to see people having fun with the game. So background, gaming. Why gaming? People have been playing games for thousands of years. There's young people, old people. There's games with a big history of playing and even influencing history by itself. So I think it was a very interesting research to learn more about the history of gaming. Also, yeah, Halving himself was the game developer, and there was this game Tron, for example, that kind of resembles Chain Duel, the way that the chains cut each other off. Sometimes it resembles Tron. So I'm a much bluffing. The Snake game by itself has a big history. I didn't come up with the two-player Snake game. Maybe I gave it an interesting twist with a Lightning integration, but there was already two-player Snake games before. But there's a big history of Snake games. You can see some images here. So it was also very interesting research. If you are interested, you can look into it. The first version of Chain Duel, I came up with Chain Duel as I was reading Mastering Bitcoin, and I read a small chapter in the end about Lightning. And then it was mind-blowing for me that finally fast and cheap transactions were possible, and I wanted really to integrate something to try it out, and I'm not sure why I came up with Chain Duel. This was the first version before I figured out how to implement Lightning. It was just free to play, two players, and it's online. You can still play if you want to. A lot of people ask me when I'm going to integrate a multiplayer version for Chain Duel. it already exists a multiplayer version of Snake Duel that you can play on your phone, even if it's in the joystick that I programmed in the mobile system. So this is the part that most people find it interesting here, the Bitcoin integration of Chengdu. So how does it work? I use LNORL, payment and withdraw. When you fund a transaction, it's actually in Lightning it's called payments, but in Lightning there's invoices. Normally you use a phone to scan them and to send the payment. LNORL works slightly different. In LNORL, you request the server to send you an invoice, but in this case to send is almost the same way it works. That you scan this invoice, and this invoice will tell you what's the minimum amount, the maximum amount you can deposit. But LNORL has a very interesting feature that it allows you to send a note with a payment. And my game uses this feature. You can see here, after you scan and you pay, you can send your name in the notes, and the game recognizes that as your username. For the high scores or for the tournament notes, it's very useful. And then for the withdrawal, it's very simple. You just, after the game, the winner withdraws the total loss deposits. But in this case, the LNORL, because if it was a normal invoice, the game would have to have access to a camera to scan your QR code, or you would have to find a way to send the invoice in a text to the game. So this way, LNORL makes it easier that you can just scan this QR code, you request an invoice, and you pay it remotely. LNORL facilitates this. Of course, eventually, Bolt 12 will be more widely adopted, and it will maybe replace LNORL in a more Lightning native way. So let's see the development from this. Chengdu is going to implement it or not. Some features of the game. So you play your game, you lost your money, you are a bit upset. What do? You challenge your opponent to a double or nothing. It creates an even more engaging, more competitive scenario for the game. So you should try it. And then one of the latest additions is the tournament mode. In the tournament mode, every player scans the same QR code. So in Lightning, invoices are only usable once. So LNORL allows you that the same QR code can be paid multiple times. So we take advantage of this in the game. In the tournament mode, you see there's only one QR code, and everybody sends the payment with their name, and it's randomly attributed a place in the bracket. So today we are going to have a tournament. I'm not sure, I think at 7 p.m., but everybody will be warm by then. I hope everybody comes to play and to watch. We are going to be 16 players. Each player deposits 20,000 sets, and then the winner in the end is going to withdraw 320,000 sets as a prize. So hopefully it's going to be a lot of fun. And the value split in Chain Duel, each time a player deposits sets, there's immediately a split that is based, maybe you have read GG's Lightning Prisms article, that the moment you deposit, the stats are split. Of course, 95% stayed and will be give back to the winner, but there's a 5% that is split between me, I'm the developer, the host or the sponsor, and the designer, Pedro, that helps me a lot. He's not only a designer, he also programs some front-end CSS and stuff that I'm not so good at, so it helps a lot. Past events. Well, the game is 1 year old right now. The first event, we've been in the Lightning Tuscan Summit 1 year ago, like a couple of weeks. And ever since then, the game has been invited to many events. I think like the 14th event. It's not all of them are written here, but the bigger ones. And we already have some plans for upcoming events. So if you want to play Chengdu, normally in the conferences we make very big tournaments. In the last Bitcoin Atlantis, we made 5 tournaments, and it's like 5.2 million sets in prizes plus beatboxes and swag for the players. It was a lot of fun. So I will now show you some pictures of the events, the conferences that Chengdu attended, for to have an idea of the development. This is a picture of the first time Chengdu was officially mentioned somewhere non-digitally. In the Lightning Tuscany Summit, they printed a paper and they mentioned Chengdu here, and of course the Emperor was super happy. It's finally real. It came to life. And people really liked it. It was a Lightning Summit, so everybody had sats, everybody had a Lightning wallet. People really were happy about trying this new game, and I got very good feedback. And it made me work even harder for the next conference, which was Miami. We both bought an arcade machine, and we made some very nice prints. And people really had fun playing with the joysticks, more classical feeling. But to be honest, I think I prefer like with the setup we have here, with a couch, with the remote controllers, and it's more because Chindool has become like a sort of social event that gives a platform for Bitcoiners to gather and be Bitcoiners, use the Bitcoin technology. Not only you are only playing, but you are watching and talking about other stuff that you like with your Bitcoiner friends while you are using Bitcoin. So we are providing a space that not many projects I think right now are providing, and I think that's one of the reasons people like the game so much. This was in Riga, the first time we had a tournament. Salvatore won. He was one of our first professional players in the world. And it was very cool. Some more known people started playing Shingu and getting the notion that it existed. Then Madeira, this was Bitcoin Azores. It was very cool because we also made a very nice tournament. It was an unconference. It's less organized. It's in beautiful island in the Atlantic Ocean. This is a video. This is just a short time lapse. So you have an idea how it will work today, the tournament. So this is how it will work. Everybody is depositing sets. They got the place in the bracket. Then you play against each other. In the end, the winner takes all. That it was Rugsy, and Rugsy is winning too many tournaments. So I need players to become better and compete because Beatbox doesn't let me give money to Rugsy anymore. So please practice, guys. This was in Amsterdam. Amsterdam was a very nice conference for the game. We had a lot of players. And I also gave a talk about Shenduel. It was my first talk, so it also attracted a lot of attention, and the tournament was also very good. So every time we keep making some little improvements in the game. Of course, in the beginning it was a lot about usability. Players, it was not so polished, so I had to work a lot of this. We've been working 1 year on the game. It seems simple when you play it as just a snake game. There's a lot of work behind it to make it smooth, to make it an experience that is frictionless, and that people understand and it's enjoyable. Build the builders, Yarejo. This is the same in the same place as the Lightning Tuscany Summit, and most of my better players attend this conference, so it's very competitive. And you can see that it was so competitive that we are playing in the bars, in the floor, on top of vases while it's raining. So it was everywhere. People really got into it in Yarejo. And then Plan B Forum, the week after this, it was the first time we made a tournament on stage, a final tournament. It was really cool. We had Joe Hall narrating the tournament, and he's so good. He's very skilled at his job, and it was amazing to see him perform this spectacle. And also the players very competitive because there was a qualifying round before for this tournament on stage. The prize was very high, it was nearly 2 million sets, so that people wanted to win. And you can see here on stage the players are cheering, and I don't know. It was very funny because there was a moment that the players made rock, paper, scissors to see which one was going to get the next food. The Plan B for now was the conference where I had the most games per minute, so it was I think one of the most successful. Adopting Bitcoin in El Salvador, the Bitcoin country. Of course, I hope one day Chenduel becomes the official sport of El Salvador. Bukele, if you are here, if you are watching this stream, please think about it. It was very cool. We also made a tournament on stage. You can see it on the left bottom corner, and a lot of players as well. And I have a video that we made a video of Bitcoin Atlantis. Atlantis was our biggest conference so far. It was 3 days, so we had a lot of games. And we made we had 4 tournaments that qualified to the final tournament. And Bitbox sponsored, they donated a very nice prize for the winner. So it was a lot of fun. And we made a lot of publicity, a lot of advertising. And we also made a summary game video after the tournament and the conference. So it's not in these slides. Maybe afterwards I can put on Twitter. But this is just to have an idea because people accuse me that I go around the world making 5% fee. I take only 2%. But if you see the statistics, so in Madeira we had 209 games and 257 total deposits. And there was 8.6 million sats, which is a lot these days in fiat terms, is quite a lot of money deposited, and 8.1 million withdraw. And we make, in average, we split 400,000 sats with fees, which you might imagine is not enough for all the work we do, all the the work beforehand and the conference they provide us a big space to do all of this. So it's not really profitable, but we are working to scale it and hopefully make it more. So if you are a developer, a lot of people ask me, how can I build my own game? How can I build my own Lightning infrastructure? I've built, so Chandool is open source, first of all. So if you want to go in the repository and you want to change the images or you want to change the game, the way the game works, if you think it's too fast, or if you think, if you don't trust the random algorithm I use for the, a lot of people also accuse me that I hard code the location of the ball, so I always win. So no, the code is open source. You can check it out and you can fork it. You can run it. The point of Chandool is that people run their own games in their own methods. So it's not that people have to connect to my node or to my infrastructure. How it works? It's the way I implemented Chandool for now is that it uses LN-Bits. LN-Bits is an accounting system for Lightning, and LN-Bits allows users and developers to write extensions and they integrate it very easily. And I use the LN-URL withdraw and the LN-URL deposit for the, and I forgot to mention before, LN-URL also has LN addresses. So you can make a payment to Lightning using like an email address kind of string. And this is how to use for the split payments. It's also an interesting capacity of LN-URL. And in here, this is the API that I use to implement the LN-URL payment extensions and withdrawals with LN-Bits for the game. And this is how it works. So, you know, in Bitcoin, Bitcoin is the base. You need to have the blockchain. You need to for the transactions and the addresses. All this, as you already know. I'm making a very short description. But Lightning is a layer 2 that allows Bitcoin to be transacted, to make payments a bit faster and cheaper than normally. Sorry that I'm so fast and you know this probably. And then I use Rider Lightning to manage the LND, which is a Lightning node that I use. It gives a graphical interface for channel management, closing and open, and also for circular rebalances, loopouts, loop-ins. It's very. There's also other ones. Thunderhead, if I'm not mistaken, and the Lightning Terminal. They are both useful. I use all as well sometimes. But then they all connect. The LND connects to LN-Bits. That allows the extension that I was mentioning to connect to my backend. I call it MarsPay. The reason I gave it a name is not only a backend, is because I'm trying to develop a bit further so that I can release it open source and everybody can build their own Lightning apps, games very easily, because I have it connects through to LN-URL, in this case with the REST API, and there's webhooks for the notifications of payments to my backend. And it manages all the, in this case, it's managing already still the game. Hopefully it was going to be more generic in the future. And gives socket notifications and communication with a front end that is Chandool. But this can be used to build many kind of applications, not only Chandool. Chandool is just a proof of concept for what's possible in the future with Lightning. And this is a good example. In the Bitcoin Amsterdam, I was invited to develop this, it's called an art installation for the main stage. You can see here there's QR codes on the main stage. And in here, in the stream, you could see that when somebody pays the QR code, it makes an animation and it shows a Bitcoin quote, a Bitcoin image, some sort of random funny Bitcoin thing. But also the audience can interact directly with stage and send a sentence for everybody to see. So it made a kind of interactive experience for the stage, the main stage of Bitcoin Amsterdam. And it was cool. I was happy to use my backend, MarsPay, also to develop it. So this is what I was saying. This is the wrong order, but this is how I use for the value split. I use the extension called split payments. It's basically you just put the LN address, and every time you get the payment, you can send a percentage to this address. It's very simple. And conclusions: if you are thinking to building on Lightning, there's been a lot of hate on Lightning lately. If you go on Twitter, you think Lightning doesn't work, but Lightning is working. Maybe there's some drawbacks, of course. There are problems. People are working on it, and we will see what is possible. Of course, with good time. And, it's getting much easier to build on Lightning. A few years ago, the knowledge and the software was not as good as right now. So, for example, I showed you with LN-Bits, it's very easy to build a Lightning application that maybe It's not going to be production ready for to scale to millions of people, but it's perfect to prototyping and so far. Yeah. And of course, there's policy light, and you sometimes payments fail, or you have to manage your own liquidity. That people are also working on this. And so yes, and managing and maintaining channels sometimes can be a bit of a hassle with rerouting and circular rebalances. So the future for Shinduo, of course, everybody asks me when I'm going to put the game online. The game is online, not multiplayer online. You have to have a person next to you. It's not so technologically complicated to make it online. I'm still trying to grasp what is the best way to move forward with Shinduo, but of course, online is always top of my mind. We are also thinking to implement other forms of interaction. One of the most I'm most excited about is implementing masters zaps and the identity layer for the game. This way, because I explained before, people send a payment with a note, and this is their name in the game. If you use a zap, you can already send automatically without having to do anything. Your name, even your picture that we don't have in the game, but eventually we can put images for the players. So also we can create a more social component for the game. If every time you play a game, it shares automatically on your master account, or if you can make it public events, for example. Of course, people also ask me, I will develop a bot to win all the games. We are also thinking to develop a bot to win against you. So in the future, probably this is going to be my next step, to implement a practice mode that people at home can play against a bot to practice for the tournaments. And in the future, when the prizes get so big that there's no liquidity on Lightning enough for the game, we are starting to think about on-chain tournaments that the players make, for example, a multi-sig or using mini-script, something that we didn't think the details yet, but can be also an interesting integration for the game. And live feed, we already actually did a very nice stream on Bitcoin Atlantis. Of course, we still have to improve, and there's always connection problems, but we use Zapstream, and we had a lot of viewers, given that the platform is still. Okay, and hopefully in the future, we are going to have a esports scenario where thousands of people are very, very excited to see the final match between both best players of the world. Okay, thank you very much.
Since we have you here, first of all, I first played Chain Duel in Riga, right? You had it there at the fun room, basically, where all the toys were, lightning beer and other things. And we played. Ethan is not here actually. We need to find him. I played against Ethan and I lost. So now I need to challenge him to a rematch. That needs to happen like tonight at the latest. Okay. Tonight we're also gonna do the Chain Duel tournament, right? Who wants to win some sats? Huh? Sats? Yeah.
More excitement.
Okay, 3, 4. Okay, we have some signups. That's good. I like what you mentioned with Nostr, because Nostr is an identity that you control. The server doesn't control it. And you said it can grab your profile picture. It can even grab your game history, because a node can carry any amount of data. And basically, you can, every time you play, you can publish or create or a plain text thing that proves what happened to the game. And basically, you can have a public history of a leaderboard. So that should be a good implementation for that. I had an idea. What about an ELO score? ELO, like in chess, I think that would help with challenges, and it's like a fixed algorithm. Been tested for like hundreds of years. Right. I don't know what you think about it.
Yes, I didn't mention in my talk. We already discussed the possibility of the ELO. It's used for many games. Even multiplayer games already implement ELO. So not only 1v1 like in chess, but even 5v5. There's already ways of implementing ELO scores. This will work very well when Shenduel is scaling, it's online, and people are playing around the world. ELO is very good to find an opponent, to find person at your level. And we are also trying to thinking about implementing in the future a teams mode that we can gather, for example, Bitcoin companies to play against each other also 2 versus 2.
Okay, so we will do the tournament. Francis will tell you about the details. We are going to take a break in a bit. The food is getting ready in a few minutes. Go take a bathroom break. What's important is that we're doing the proof of work session of Noster with Rios during the break at room 101. At the same spot, you will also be challenged to a chain duel game. That's the casual thing, so you can practice. If you haven't tried it now, now's the time to warm up those thumbs, right? Okay, give them a few details about the tournament, and we'll go on a break.
Okay, guys, what time is the tournament, George?
Like 7.
Okay, so around 7 in that room, it's going to be 16 players. I was already explaining how it works. We need 16 players. I think we are going to get them, hopefully. And it's going to be 20,000 sets deposit per player in the beginning. And then the winner will take everything in the end. So it's going to be competitive, guys. I want to see a lot of good players. Okay, let's have a break. Let's eat some food.
Now there are like 2 hours of break, so we can record a little bit of the barbecue and
Barbecue, do the interviews.
it's
Because
70%.
people are ended up being looking at the live stream. Have like 200 people, 250.
300.